Yeah, round the sequel is going on. See how my levels are sounding. See how we're doing out here. Mic check. How we doing? Kelvin Byrne, what's going on? Nigga master. God never shouts me out. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? See what's up? Little roll call early. The legend PeterMoore returns. Will be here early, so the roll call will be quick. Shout out to Hollywood Bulls. Follow us in the chat. Happy Sunday, my New York City. West Virginia cousins. Thanks again for getting the great PeterMoore on. Sorry I've been MIA, but my football Sundays are precious. Get them, King. I feel you. Football Sundays is crazy. It's hurting everybody's views right now. We in the mix. Again, Hollywood Rule, $2 super chat. Just thanking the great PeterMoore, no doubt. What's going on? Win sweep, how I'm feeling. I'm feeling better, man. I'm feeling like myself. You know, I still got a lot of things to take care of on the back end for our long-term health, but as far as short-term health, the boy getting stronger, feeling like myself, and I'm doing better. So it's always a good sign. Still got more work to do. Popping out, what's going on? A-Fan, what's going on? Necromancer Zale, I see you. What's going on? Hindsight with the Hustle. That's your new name? Hindsight with the Hustle? Is that hustling motivation? No doubt. KR, what's up? Arcade, what's going on? Zach DB, Brian East, E-Rank, Silent Cypher, Big Mad Mode, Tool Man, Official Young Dreads. I'm feeling that artwork. I'm feeling that health as well. It's coming. I see you. Tool Man 55, I see you. He says got me freestyling. Okay, A-Fan guys, he got bars. No doubt. Calvin Byrne, what's going on? Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. Okay, more details coming soon with the Hustle. Oh, I like that name. That's fire, Bob Dopp, no doubt. Look, the legend will be here very shortly on time. So you know, we gotta get it right. Just want to do a little roll call. Good to see y'all here early. Which I hit that like button. Subscribe, tell a friend. Share. We doing the Lord's work on Sunday. You know, bringing this back, educating the realm. He doesn't have a lot to say. We got a lot. His chapters is deep, bro. We got more chapters to get into. And cock mic's hot. It's hot. All right. I moved it back a little bit. I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure how hot it was. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure you hear me. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun in the realm. So see y'all in a bit. The legend will be in here soon.
Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I am addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment, they call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them reins. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter, but I'm anti-social. Love my city, but I'm still bi-coastal. Let's switch that up.
What is you doing?
What I want to do.
Don't stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. For them to be your dog, they ain't very loyal. But I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for you. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I am addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga, fire. yoga, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment, they call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them reins. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter but I'm anti-social. Love my city but I'm still bi-coastal. I got, nah, let's switch that.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that,
super
keep that, keep that going, keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. For them to be your dog, they ain't very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's, whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I'm addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them reins. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter but I'm anti-social. Love my city but I'm still bi-coastal. I got, nah, let's switch that.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that,
super
keep that, keep that going, keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. For them to be your dogs, they ain't very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's, whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I'm addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them reins. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter but I'm anti-social. Love my city but I'm still bi-coastal. I got, nah, let's switch that.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that,
super
keep that, keep that going, keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. For them to be your dogs, they ain't very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's, whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I'm addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them reins. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter but I'm anti-social. Love my city but I'm still bi-coastal. I got, nah, let's switch that.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that,
super
keep that, keep that going, keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. Feeling to be your dog thing, very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's... Whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I am addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them rings. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter, but I'm anti-social. Love my city, but I'm still bi-coastal. I got... Nah, let's switch that up.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that
super
going. Keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. Feeling to be your dog thing, very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's... Whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I am addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them rings. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter, but I'm anti-social. Love my city, but I'm still bi-coastal. I got... Nah, let's switch that up.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that
super
going. Keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. Feeling to be your dog thing, very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's... Whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't want to be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they want to compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I am addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that This is that yoga, fire, flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment. They call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them rings. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter, but I'm anti-social. Love my city, but I'm still bi-coastal. I got... Nah, let's switch that up.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that
super
going. Keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. Feeling to be your dog thing, very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. That's... Whew. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So, look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't wanna be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they wanna compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I'm addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga fire flame. They think it's arson up in the apartment, they call it department and I get the blame. Still I be running, collecting them rains. You just a target when I'm in the range. I was the hardest to start regardless back when you was messaging people on AIM. Check my vocals, all on Twitter but I'm anti-social. Love my city but I'm still bi-coastal. Let's switch that up.
What is you doing?
What I wanna do,
Don't
man.
stop. Nah, that was dope.
I'm
Keep
just
that
super
going. Keep that going. Nah, go ahead.
Look, I guess you could say that I'm very spoiled. For them to be your dog, they ain't very loyal. But I ain't gon' hold ya, I ain't here to boil you. You ain't gotta say it, I'm embarrassed for ya. Always been a nerd, never been a loser. Making Voltron with a gang of cougars. And I'm going places, better tell a Uber. Cause it's pretty hard to sleep on Freddy Krueger. Let's do that again. Hear ye, man. Welcome to the show. If you would not mind, go ahead and find yourself a spot, get comfortable, grab a snack, do all that good stuff that we need to do, and we're about to get started. It's not important who I am. What's important is that you are pulling up to the Iron Lords podcast right now as we speak, and I guess I'm here to keep you entertained until it's time to get this show started. So, look. Y'all done messed up and turned me to an animal. And haters be swearing they real, but come to find out that they really mechanical. And yeah, I be eating these rappers, but that's all a part of me being a cannibal. And they say I'm better than money because you can bank on me being accountable. I know a million rappers that don't wanna be on a song with me, that's understandable. I kill a beat and they wanna compare me to Freddie and Jason. I'd rather be Hannibal. They be like, why use a video game? Just be original, y'all too dramatical. I know it's random, but I'm addicted to flipping the sample and making it flammable. This is that yoga fire flame. I'ma just chill and watch them and eat snacks in the attic. I wanted to chill with the pack and be like a young wolf, but then they would mistake me for addict. If I can imagine it's cool to give you some advice, then invite your girl to your squadron. Cause if you don't give her that option, you gon' be single player like Sovereign. You gon' get tossed in the bushes by King David. Royalty and not a pretender. Detrimental to an elemental, what's an avatar to a knee bender? I gotta be me though. I know it's my destiny, word to Cognito. Who cares if you fly, if you still a mosquito? You swear you ain't stuntin', but really be Steve-O.
Sure.
You like to collect stuff and that's cool, but I got bad news. Even if you really was that dude, King David still be the king of the statues. Since a juvenile, I've been cursed with a curse to be musical. And if you hate it, we'll meet in the crucible. Other than that, then it's cool and it's beautiful. We let you know that your dreams are pursuable. Whatever you wanna do, then it's doable. If you got work on a Sunday, it's suitable. Cause you can listen to this in your cubicle on the Lord's Day. Woo. If you got work on a Sunday, it's suitable. Cause you can listen to this in your cubicle on the Lord's Day.
Sounding good. Give me another mic check, King, because we have now switched over.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, crispy. Let's get the legend real quick. Lord PeterMoore, brief mic checks. Want to make sure your level's coming through good on Zoom.
Check. It's in the game. Check.
It's thinking, and it's in the game. Let me give a mic check real quick, Addicts, to make sure you sounding good.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
No doubt, my focus a little off. Lord Solve, mic check.
Hello.
Ah, yes, there is the smooth one. No doubt. All right, hear ye. And we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords Podcast, LLC, and also live on lordsofgaming.net. Episode number 323. And it's another glorious Sunday. We're back at the round table on the Lord's Day. I'm extremely honored about our returning guest. And we've got the golden era of Sega, Xbox, Electronic Arts, and of course, Liverpool FC. In addition to the CMA preliminary approval of the ABK merger, Xbox Tokyo Game Show, and Unity's runtime policy to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord whose career is so illustrious to reflect upon. It was only right our realms reunited for a proper sequel. A true trailblazer who fought the good fight for interactive gaming culture during tumultuous times, as well as an industry educator who consistently reminds us to remember the journey from whence we came. Introducing the legendary corporate vice president / head of Xbox, the legendary president of Sega of America, the legendary chief operating officer of Electronic Arts, and the CEO who will never walk alone from Liverpool FC while owning the skies of Santa Barbara. Live from California and gracious enough to make his return into the realm of the Lords, my man, Lord PeterMoore. How are we doing, sir?
We're doing great. Thank you. And thank you. Man, WWE is calling you. I need a hype man, and you're number one on that list right now. It's great to be back, and thank you for having me back.
Of course. We appreciate you, Lord, at what you do. Good to have you back. So much to talk about. We had to show you the proper respect at the round table. How have you been? Have you been any time for any gaming with your insane schedule?
Well, there's so much going on. Yeah, I've been traveling a bunch and continue to do so. Off to Belgium next weekend. That's a conference on football management. And then I can do a couple of plugs. I'm in Amsterdam first week of November for Solana.org and talking about the future of gaming and with a look at the past and how we got here and where gaming is going in the future. And then I'm down in Mexico City in mid-November at EGS, which is a great conference down there. And guests of my great friend Mario, who I worked with at EA, and going down to talk about my journey to my good friends down in Mexico City. So exciting few weeks ahead. Nice, awesome. Hopefully doing some gaming in between, maybe on a Valari pillow here and there. I got my Valari pillow. My man, salute. You already know. And we got the four horsemen of gaming, those original lords of the realm here at the round table. A little extra time-sensitive intros to maximize Lord Peter's time. My co-host, that's the king dig. My co-host, the co-host, my brother for another mother, the difficult game conqueror, lord of his own world, and the how of the young wolf. My man, Lord Addict of the Addict Show, back to back. How we doing, sir?
Doing pretty good right now. Having issues with my headset for some reason. It's not wanting to. I might have to get the one that I saw sent me one still in the box, so I might have to go get that one out of the box.
Yeah,
but
what you switching up to? Which headset you switching up to?
Definitely go get that one.
The ones that I have on.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. So first off, want to thank Peter for coming on. Second off, I beat that Mortal Kombat campaign.
Nice.
The single player.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal experience. Yes. I have played previous Mortal Kombats before, but it's been decades.
Yeah, no, so I'm proud of you. I know the fighting game thing is not your genre, but to see you excited, I was happy that you did. You had a good time.
All I had to do was just find a spam move and just keep using it over and over again.
Efficiency.
Once I got Liu Kang, it was a wrap. Like, he's got so many spam moves.
I feel you.
It was a wrap.
No doubt. And of course, we have our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Sostradamus, the Lord of Clarity and Patron of the Iron Bank. My man, Lord Sovereign, PC's own. How we doing?
I'm doing well, as you can see. I'm back home from my my travels abroad. I got to give a big shout out to my boy, Mahmoud, who held me down in Bahrain. I was moving across the world. After I had to unceremoniously have to uplift my life and run around.
Yeah, you were blamed for all the leaks.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. It was all my fault. But yeah, a big shout out. Eventually in my travels, I managed to hook up with some good friends. You guys may know who they are.
Yes.
Ed Snowden, Tupac Shakur.
Oh my Lord, you're ridiculous.
And DB Cooper. Some of you might know who that is.
All I really wanted to know is how is Elvis doing lately?
You're ridiculous.
He's doing well. Lost a lot of weight. You know,
Okay.
lost a lot of
That's
weight,
great.
doing burpees. You know,
Time on the run talk, please.
but I, managed to sit down with the big man and squash everything, so I get my life back. Thank you,
That's
Phil.
good.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate your service.
I just, I have a gag order the size of the Bible, that I have to adhere to. That's it.
Fair
But
enough.
shout out. But yeah, I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is a little bugged out, and still haven't gotten over this cold that's just not leaving me.
I hear you.
But yeah, also gaming wise, I got to get a little Mortal Kombat 1 in.
Nice.
Threw on that Cyberpunk. Woo.
Nice.
My. Oh my. What else? A little more Starfield. So yeah, just playing little different things here and there, just to still testing out the goods on the brand new PC. So
nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
No doubt. And of course, we have the incredible Oculus, aka the XS Gamer.
Ooh.
The prophet of Xbox.
Swami.
King of the statues, who demands nothing less than that premium experience and is the leader of the whole The Line movement.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King, how we doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. We're on to part 2.
Woo!
Thank you, Lord PeterMoore, for showing back up. It's highly anticipated for me and for the rest of the team. I want to give a shout out to NZXT.
Yes.
If y'all look at the new overlay, I want to give a shout out to Shaun Labrie for seeing the vision, understanding the vision, and making sure the vision came to completion. Thank you so much for all your hard work and your speedy work.
Yes, facts, yes. Fantastic
Highly
job.
professional guy. If anybody needs anything done, please make sure that you check out Shaun Labrie. If you don't know his information, hit me up in the background and I'll make sure that I get that to you.
No question.
I've been playing Mortal Kombat 1.
Nice.
Now, this is the year of the fighters. Fighters have made a huge comeback. I don't know in past history or recent history if we had a year this stacked.
Correct.
All we need is virtual fighters to show up.
We just need Peter to talk to somebody to get virtual fighters back.
Let's go.
Because we have Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken launching, and then we have smaller other fighters that was released, Blue Blaze and stuff like that. King of the Fighters. These games are phenomenal, and it's bringing competition back.
Yes.
High quality AAA games, AA fighters, and you got Addict playing a fighting game.
I'm
you
so
have
proud
done
of
something very, very good. I hope this year that the competition in fighting game of the year is well thought out.
Yes.
Because you don't go off of just visuals on everything. I think story commands a lot, and Mortal Kombat has my wife watching me play the game.
Yeah. NetherRealm, Ed Boon's on a different level right now.
Yes.
Narratively, with the way
It
he tells
isn't.
story.
It was crazy. Looking at it initially just from video before we had it in the house, I'm like, it doesn't look that much different graphically to 11.
Completely different.
But when you get it in the house
Completely
and you
different.
see the level of detail on just facial expressions, animations, mocap stuff, like it is on another level.
Yeah.
Transitions and everything. I want to give a shout out to the Shaw brothers, Run Shaw and Run Me Shaw. Highly influenced this game. Thank you so much. It brought back my childhood, seeing feudal Japan, a lot of cues. The martial arts is great. So just check it out. If you're a fighting fan, check it out. This game is phenomenal. That's what I've been playing, that and Fortnite and Starfield. Starfield, I'm taking in bite-sized chunks. I'm not trying to finish the game all fast. I do like what I'm doing. I'm cultivating stuff on planets. I'm minding my business, having fun. Nice. And I think that's how the game was intended to be. Your journey, your experience told through you, and then you can convey that to others. And I really think God Howard has hit the nail on the head with this
title.
Should be definitely game of the year. For me, it is. But Spider-Man is lurking in the shadows.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
Get to play that.
No doubt.
Let's get to it.
Love it. And of course, we have the gaming ninja himself, the Shinobi, LordCognito, spreading that realness in the realm of ILP. Not telling what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Shout out to Mr. Matty Play. Shout out to Finding Duke. Talking leaks, and more leaks. Shout out to Evantis and to our guy Travis for the last word. Had Ballistic Kitty on, talking all things Destiny. As far as me, pretty much the same as you guys. Mortal Kombat 1 is finished. absolutely fantastic job by NetherRealm. Ed Boon and the team continue to set the narrative bar in fighting games, and it's not even close. These things are interactive movies. Starfield, the same thing. Beat that. I'm on my new game plus. It's absolutely amazing doing cleaning up achievements there. But yeah, that's been pretty much it for me. Look, who's Attic? Hopefully Attic comes right back. His connection comes back. But yeah, Solve. Oh, actually, before we start, let's do me a favor, everyone in the community. I want everyone to send a shout out to our brother, Wilmy Hood. Wilmy Hood, y'all know him in the community. He's been big. He's one of the biggest hearts in the community. He's going through a tough time right now. Please send him your love. Make sure him and the family are doing okay, because Wilmy is a big part of our community. He's been going through a lot yesterday. I just wanted to put that out there. Solve, could you explain the rules of engagement before we start with Lord PeterMoore?
Absolutely, guys. We only have Peter for a limited amount of time, so we're gonna wait and hold off on super chats until afterwards, so we can get the full extent of the interview in. As you saw last time, we were not able to. But thank you so much for all of your super chats and all your messages, and we'll read them afterwards.
No doubt. So let's get right into it. Now that we've been focused on what the Lord's been playing, it's been this patient, illustrious guest here, been waiting. You know, we got to focus on Lord Peter and more of his illustrious career, from his transition from Sega Dreamcast, Xbox 360, to becoming COO at Electronic Arts, Senior VP of Sports and Live Entertainment at Unity, and of course, what led him to be the CEO of his hometown club at Liverpool, of course, and obviously Santa Barbara Sky. So, Lord Peter, I do want to ask two questions before we get into the new chapter that we missed with you, as far as, you know, the old chapter, which was, you know, we are in the iconic month of September. I wore my special shirt for you. And another year removed from the greatest launch lineup in gaming with the Dreamcast on 9/9/99. As in tradition, you had some very reflective Twitter posts I saw. So what are your thoughts looking back this month, and why does the Dreamcast still resonate with you so deeply?
Well, you're right. And before we get in, just back to Mortal Kombat 1.
Yes.
If you haven't seen what the MSG Sphere did yesterday in Las Vegas, you're all familiar with the Sphere. It had a Mortal Kombat 1 takeover. And wow. Stunning. So go check it out. Just Google it, but you'll see the imagery. Clearly, they did a takeover with the Sphere. The Sphere's getting up and running, and you two are going to be performing there. They're going to be the first act.
Nice.
World's biggest Sphere, amazing. But MK1 was right there on the Sphere. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Awesome. That's huge. That's huge.
So anyway, yeah. So 9/9/99.
Let's go.
24 years on. Yeah. I always reflect, and I reflect because of the people that were involved in building what we now enjoy as, you know, a completely connected industry. And so from the perspective of what we did and everything we went through that year to get to September 9th, and everything we did over the following 2 years didn't end up the way we wanted it to, but as I often say, we passed the baton to, in this particular instance, Microsoft and the Xbox, and building out Xbox Live. And many of the experiences that we have today, and we take for granted bluntly, wouldn't have happened without the Sega Dreamcast and SegaNet and the games that were powering that. And all of this amazing work, this trial and error, this all, you know, fail fast, fail cheap that we were doing in those days to try to get games to run on a dial-up modem smoothly without lag. And, you know, we were able to do it. And so I always reflect on that. And, you know, it's a little bittersweet for me because so many people gave so much and ended up not seeing the finish line, that they lost their jobs as a result of this. And I think the good news is, and I've stayed in touch with many of them, that they all ended up in a good place.
Nice.
And I also want to give a shout out for somebody that was there at the beginning and that was there with me, is no longer with us. And that guy is Charlie Belfield, who was our head of communications. Charlie passed away a few years later, and he was head of comms, and a great personal friend, and a feisty combatant with the media, a fellow Brit that lived and died Sega. And many of you that have been around for a number of years will remember Charlie. He passed away, I think it was 2008, 2009, but I still remember him and his contributions to what he was able to do. And nobody traded punches with the media and with our competitors better than Charlie. So yeah, and so every year I post, and I've got little stash of memorabilia. I'll take a photograph just so that it's always remembered, and its contributions are always remembered. And the contributions of those people that work for Sega America, Sega of Europe, Sega of Japan, the third-party publishers that believed in us. Some didn't, but many did, and I think they would admit that they learned a lot as they were getting their games up and running to play online, that they still have those lessons today as they do their games here in 2023.
That's awesome. I love to hear that kind of stuff. And, again, it reminds me of the challenge. First of all, rest in peace, to your friend. That's awesome. But it reminds me of, again, the Challenger brand, that spirit solve, right? Of being competitive and being in the mix. And King, that's what we loved about that era so much, and why we championed it. And again, just remember that launch line. I remember King, because King had everything. And I remember him and looking at all, like we call it the stack of having all those titles. It was Ready to Rumble, and it just.
I remember your team made it the hardest to pick. Usually, when you're going into a console lineup, I'll get this and I'll get that, and then I can wait on the other stuff. You guys made it that you couldn't miss out on any title, and you gave us enough time in advance to know what the launch lineup was, so we were able to save up for that. I remember I broke the bank on GameStop. I brought in all my DVDs, and I had 2 duffel bags full
DVD trade-ins.
And they stopped the policy after I did.
You abused.
Because they shut the store down in order to catalog all of them. I had enough money to buy the Dreamcast and every game.
Yes.
That was available for up until, I don't know, it was Blue Sting, it was everything. I literally had everything. So on launch night, I came in and got everything. So I do appreciate you guys for giving us the best launch lineup in history, and no one has ever challenged that or beat that to this day.
Absolutely.
But, in retrospect, given it all again, and this is my personal opinion, I wouldn't have done it that way again. There was too much on day one. There were too many titles, brand new IP, and when you look back and you think about what we should have done, and again, personal opinion, here we sit here 24 years later and be Monday morning quarterbacks on this. I think ultimately it was over 20 launch titles available on day one, and the challenge you have is all of those third parties wanted to be there on day one, and they had committed and they insisted, and rightly so. But what we should have done is maybe hung a little firmer and staggered it out all the way to the holidays, and maybe even into Q1 of 2000, and so that you were constantly coming back and looking at fresh content that was available. But good news is, I think still that it was by far the greatest launch lineup any console had ever had, and it will never ever be usurped. But when I think about it, could we have staggered it a little bit more so that it was constantly, we had something to talk about every 2 or 3 weeks, the big launch coming along. And so, again, hindsight is 2020.
Hindsight 2020.
Yeah, but that's when I think about it now, that's probably what we should have done.
No, fair enough. Totally understand the insight there. Another question I want to ask you from one of your previous eras before we get into EA and all the good stuff. Before that, I wanted to ask you an Xbox specific question, because I think you are uniquely qualified to answer this. And this is based on the 360 era of having the huge IP like the Gears of War, the Mass Effect. I need your thoughts on the idea of Xbox kind of making exclusive gaming deals or studio acquisitions versus PlayStation with what some may consider like organic growth of generally working with a studio or helping with their games before they acquire them. Like, what are your thoughts on this subject as far as that process on both sides?
You've got to remember that Sony had been building relationships with third-party publishers and delivering large profits to those publishers since the mid-90s. And so they had the benefit of, particularly with the Japanese publishers, this hand-in-glove relationship of the first party and the third party. And so what we had to do coming in close to a decade later, as we really got up and running with the Xbox 360, is we had to kind of insert ourselves in between that relationship. And as I said on our first meeting here, is that there was a lot of skepticism as to would we deliver a competitive console at a competitive price that would be supported with great first-party content. Yes, we did. And secondly, were we in it for the long run? Again, there was still, and it's difficult to imagine that as we sit here today, but there was still a lot of question marks of whether this was something that Microsoft was eventually going to, bury the Xbox. It wasn't working out. It was a great effort, and tech companies like this, with that size of a balance sheet, can afford to spend a few $1 billion to see what happens, and if it doesn't happen, so be it. You read a story last week about Microsoft and how much they spent on their own AI before they went in, and so and billions of dollars, and they went, you know what, let's go to OpenAI and go there. And so yeah, we had to build those relationships, and I spent a lot of time, in particular, going to Japan, working with obviously the publishers here as that continued westernization of our industry was going on, writing large checks, as I said last time, but building out, you don't just willy-nilly write the check. You think through, what is it worth to have this content on our platform? How does that drive hardware? What are the royalties we're going to get on the software? And what does that do to the other guys? You needed to take away their competitive advantage, or at least be on an even footing, so that they'll say, we got this, we'll say, we've got this, and you go at it. Software drives hardware. And, you've got to be able to at least point to the fact that whatever genre, whether it was a shooter, whether it was sports, whether it was action adventure, whether it was RPGs, that you had things. And as we mentioned last time, our launch lineup, in particular, the Gears of War. Yes. And then thinking through some of the stuff we needed to do to kind of soften the brand so we weren't seen as a shooter box. And you have to maybe acquire studios to be able to do that. And we were not afraid of doing that. And again, we had the balance sheet and the cash that allowed us to do so.
No, I respect the answer, because I guess the only reason why I agree with you, because I think that I have a little pushback, because I feel like people feel like there's this right way to do things and there's this pure way to do things. And again, when you're the challenger brand, and then you made a good point about these relationships with, obviously a Japanese company and these studios and things of that nature, it's an uphill battle to try to, penetrate that. And then obviously what you just said about Microsoft, showing their commitment to the gaming space, right? That was something that you guys had to prove yourself. So I just thought it was interesting that you kind of agree with that mindset of, hey, we have to go out, we have to acquire, or we have to do these things to stay competitive.
Yeah, I mean, we needed a race. We got Project Gotham Racing from my great friends at Bizarre Creations in Liverpool to balance out maybe Need for Speed. You needed something in those days to compete with Gran Turismo. When we built organically Turn 10 Studios, which we built internally, and we just put the word out, who wants to be part of a racing studio? And there was enough talent there in Redmond, Washington, that we could build it out. And that IP continues to this day, as we know. And I was very proud of what we were able to do with Forza in particular there to counterbalance Gran Turismo, which was a behemoth and maybe still is, but certainly was then. And so, you either go acquire a studio or go get a publisher, a developer, or you just build it internally, and you make that decision, build or buy. And that's what we did. And we had to be able to stand on stage at E3 and feel good about what we had to offer against the other guys.
Well said. I'm sorry,
that's really good to know. I never knew, and some things like escape over a period of time. I didn't know that you were there during that time of building Turn 10, and
it had started, King, before me, but we certainly. They were ensconced there in our Millennium Studios, and it was very much organically built. It was a combo of people that had a thirst for car culture and understood. And then because it's a deep game, like a Gran Turismo, you build your car and you spend a lot of time doing that. We had a lot of engineers at Microsoft, and so we had this, and then the sense of authenticity that we needed to get going. And so, great little story. I'm a Aston Martin guy, and I've had Aston Martin since my first one, an old one that I got it in Redmond, Washington, and when I was there. And I got a call one day from the guys at Turn 10, said, we need a V12 Aston Martin for the authenticity to maintain the license. You have to to have your license, you don't just put any V12 exhaust in there. You need to have the authentic engine noise. So I said, sure, I got mine. It's an old one. It's a
Oh my
TV7.
God.
So I gave it to them, and what happens is when you're recording audio, you put microphones in the manifold, and so you're grabbing that authentic car audio of that model, of that engine, and that's what you have to do to maintain your license. So and you know what, they called me the next day, said, good news is we got the audio, bad news is we blew out your head gasket on your car.
Oh.
They paid for it, but the entire, because you redline it, which means you
push it all the way through
to maximum revs, and it was an older car, and the gasket couldn't quite take that and blew it out. Anyway, it was all's well that ends well. I think I said Phil Spencer and Shane Kim the bill immediately.
I could just see it now. It's okay. I guess just tow it to the shop from there. Like,
no, thanks, man.
That's a wonderful story.
But but you've got you need, you've got to like punch counterpunch. What have you got? This is what we need here. And in those days where it's very much you look at your genre and you've got to check those boxes. And we can talk about sports in a little bit.
We're going to right now.
Yeah, we're going to.
Already needed that as well. So
I appreciate it. Now,
thank you. That I didn't know that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was fantastic insight. So let's talk about your tenure, what we missed in that transition, you know what I'm saying, from president of EA Sports, chief operating officer at Electronic Arts, starting that new role, what that entailed at the time. And Lord Peter, why did you sneak out the back door of Xbox while you were on top? What was that about?
Well, a little bit, and the viewers and listeners will go through this in their careers. You make decisions for different reasons than just more money, or you feel like it's a better job. Your family, your situation with your kids and where they're going to school. And then, we were kind of Bay Area. And so the ability to come back to the Bay Area, to Electronic Arts based in Redwood Shores on the peninsula south of San Francisco. And it was a combination of my sports background at Patrick and Reebok, and then my video game background by the time, obviously, Sega and Xbox. And, I got an email from a recruiter, and this would be in the spring of 2007. And I always remember the subject line says, "Time to come home."
Woo!
And you open those things, right? And so it was very much, John Riccitiello was coming back to EA. They were building out, reconstructing the organizational structure of the company into what's known as labels. And so it was the games label. Sims at that time was a label on its own because it was and still is a massive, massive part of the EA business. And then sports. And so the attraction for me, A, I would be president of EA Sports, and B, I would have not only control of marketing, but also development. And having the two core studios in Vancouver and out in Orlando. And that for me was incredibly tempting. And again, a stretch for me because I'd never had development under my wings, but I was looking forward to learning about it and getting involved with the studios and the heads of development. And I knew that EA was poised to go forward here into what was this brave new world that was percolating of the digitization of our industry. And so, and it was hard to leave Microsoft and great friends, in particular, Robbie Bach. And
the
I
legend.
remember the day that I sat down with Robbie and just said, look, I have this opportunity. I was never going, there was no further upward mobility for me at Microsoft. And I loved it there. Wasn't a fan of the weather, but I loved it there.
That's a shot at Washington. What we doing, Peter?
Kind of dreary there.
Yeah. Like Manchester, but on the West Coast.
So we was just there, and it's
Yeah. So getting back to the Bay Area was important, and I just had this sense, as I did with Sega, that EA was on the cusp of something and that they recognized what was going to be the future of the next few years. And there were very few publishers that had that structure and that foresight to go forward here. And I felt, and I wanted to be part of a third party. I'd been first party, obviously, and then a little bit of third party with Sega, but I liked the idea of worrying less about hardware and worrying more about software and content.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you on that. Great points. I totally get it. And this amazing opportunity happens for you. You get the call, and once again, there he is, King, right? On to the next challenge, as he does.
You know something? Last night, I pulled up your Wikipedia. Then I started doing digging, right? Past the Wikipedia into the digging. And I said, and I had a eureka moment. I said, this man either he's a futurist, either he's a time traveler, something, because you have been on the forefront of where the industry is always going, right? You were on the forefront with broadband, right? You was on the forefront with online gaming. And then you are on the forefront with the digital, because you just brought it up.
Yeah.
And moving from spot to spot, space to space, and getting to EA. And EA, people really don't realize, EA started the free-to-play, the microtransactions, and the going forward. And you was essential at the helm at this moment. I know Cog has...
I'm going to jump in if you don't mind. Yeah,
I'll let him set it up.
You set it up perfect, what I was going to ask him, because, again, Peter being right there in the mix. And I want to talk about, if I remember, was EA Access. Before it was... what is this now, EA Play, right? Or what is now. Yeah. But, this was during your tenure, right? The subscription service, in gaming, so to speak. And let's be honest, Peter, a lot of people had a trepidation, initially about, physical game ownership. Is this the correct way to go? And, what are your thoughts about that and, the subscription service future, which you were a part of? Go ahead, Addict.
You can actually argue that EA Access probably opened up like either the concept, because I'm sure maybe other people heard that you guys are doing something like that led the door to something like Game Pass down the line. Because if I remember correctly, EA Access was before Game Pass.
I'm trying to remember. Help us remember the timeline, Lord Peter, because I felt they were really close there.
Yeah. So let's go back to the real beginning at EA.
Okay.
So and so this will all spin from all of this. So I get a nice note from Bill Gates. I get a nice note from Steve Ballmer, which was great. And then I'm off. And yet I had to get through E3 still as a Microsoft employee, knowing that I was moving to EA. And you might recall that was the E3 that it was in Santa Monica, where we were experimenting, away from the big LA convention center. And it was a failure as an experiment. This was also the E3 where we were debuting Rock Band.
That E3. I know.
And so you did your best. Excited. Yeah, we were excited about this, and of course, me being the fool that I am, said, why don't I go on stage with a guitar in my hand, with the guys, with Alex and with Alan from Harmonix, and do Rock Band. And so we're in rehearsals. We're at the Santa Monica Bowl there, and it's a huge show, and we're live streaming. And Jeff Keighley was getting up and running with this thing, and I think G4 TV had it live, and everything is fine. I'm getting the buttons right, and we go live. And I suddenly realized, as we're playing live, there's a little bit of lag between what I'm seeing on the screen, 20 feet in front of me in the audience, and me hitting the buttons to get the rhythm right. And of course, if you remember what it was like, you needed to stay in, and your bandmates could keep you in if they could keep up. But then I hit the pause button and paused the entire game. And you'll find it on YouTube, as clearly 500,000 other people have, and just one of those where it was funny. People remember it,
Classic.
Again, it's these things you're doing to try to promote, and I thought I can do this, and clearly I couldn't. I mean, from the perspective of figuring out, because we had not figured out that the latency and the lag from that, and then the next night. Great story. We decided to redeem ourselves in the Troubadour in West Hollywood, and we opened up for Stone Temple Pilots there. We got on stage, and it was perfect. It was no
I never knew about your redemption
that's
arc.
That's the competitor in you, man. You're like, I'm not gonna take this loss.
Yeah, he had to get back out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my lick back.
I can proudly say, which I often do, that I've opened up for Stone Temple Pilots.
Awesome.
Anyway, so let's the first meeting. I'm still a Microsoft employee coming out of that E3, and I get permission to attend a critical EA meeting hosted and chaired and presented by John Riccatello. And it was called the Burning Platform meeting. It was in the W Hotel, I think in 56th and Lexington in New York City. And it was kind of VP and above, and John was going to present what he felt the future was. And a burning platform, for those of you that are not familiar with it, is kind of a business term that everything's fine now, but there's some little embers starting to flare up, and you can stay on that platform, but eventually it's going to burn into the North Sea. So the first slide was a oil rig in the North Sea. Okay. Second slide, that oil rig is on fire. I mean, raging. And I'm thinking, wow, what have I helicoptered into here? And JR was making the point that, look, things are great. All of our retailers are buying lots of discs, and we're doing great with our retail partners around the world. But the future is going to be digital. Broadband speeds are going to increase. Hard drive sizes, memory will increase, and the future is direct-to-consumer download. And from that meeting that day, and John was also very clear. He said, many of you won't be here next year because the industry. Oh yeah, and you're doing great, but it may be that you need, and I'll give you this opportunity to go find something else to do, either elsewhere in the industry, because your skill sets will either evolve and will move digital and you'll move with it, or you go find something else to do. And many people did, and they actually appreciated the heads up of the times they are a-changing, to quote Bob Dylan. And it was very much a meeting, and what is that, 16 years ago, that I will never forget. And it was a foresight into the future of what gaming was about to be. But this idea of what's known as creative destruction, which is when things are going well, that is the time to start blowing up your own platform, if you will, destroying what you've got to think about what you need to build to be relevant in the future. And that's what we started to do. And these were difficult years for EA because, as King said, we decided we're going to be at the forefront of downloadable content, DLC and microtransactions, and ultimately free to play as we moved into this digital era. And what we needed to do as a company, as a global entity, is move away from manufacturing discs and working in warehouses full of boxes and cartons, shipping to GameStop and Best Buy and Target and HMV and Virgin Records and all of these global retailers, and start thinking about building back-end infrastructure, global billing systems, customer service, which I was responsible for by the time we got into the head of this, because I was then chief operating officer and building out Austin, Texas, and Galway and Ireland. Because when your customer is a retailer, your account managers do customer service. Right. And we went from literally 18 or 19 EA employees that handle customer service to 800 as we moved into you guys being our customer and gaming. So it took hundreds of millions of dollars in back-end investment, new talent, new strategy, new focus. And EA stock went down because any money we made, we reinvested immediately into building out for the future. And that's what creative destruction is all about. You can't be a Luddite. You smash the machines. You've got to embrace what's coming, make difficult decisions, see the future, and invest in it. And that was that period of time.
You became public enemy number one.
Oh yeah,
because exactly for the retailers, like for Best Buy and all these other people, because
and gamers,
and loot boxes and
I don't
and
think
all the such.
the consumer actually knows what they want, but I know for a fact that the retailers understood that you were directly removing said profits from their pockets because you're going direct to consumer. So there's no middleman in between this that you have to break off any money to. It's really you guys and the consumer. And How did that feel? Because I understand, I know that became public enemy number one. How was the temperature in the company at that point when y'all decided to do the digital and make the 800 employees and all that stuff? The temperature had to be, I don't know, talk to me.
And then I'm just going to add to that because it's along the same lines. What was there pushback in terms of the switch to this sort of multiplayer type of thing and moving away from single player games that EA had sort of been known for?
I said it, I think it was in 2010, that all games would be online, and that caught all kinds of abuse because people, and I don't want to play online. I want to play single player. And what I was saying is every game would have an online element to it, whether it was full multiplayer, right? Or you could, where's your stats? Where's the leaderboards? Where's the tournament? So, and every step in between. And so, that caught all kinds of abuse. But to King's question, yeah, it was some difficult conversations with retailers who were saying, wait a second, you're taking my customer away. Yeah. And the big guys, the GameStops, were surviving and actually flourishing during that period.
Yes.
Because of disc trade-ins, right? It was, very much like you buy your copy of Madden, you play it for $59.99 on day one. You play it for 2-3 months. You go, yeah, I'm going to trade it in because I want to buy NBA Live in those days, or NHL or something like that. I'm going to go back to GameStop. They're going to give me $15 credit. They're going to smack it on the shelves right away.
Yep.
Right?
Boost that price back up.
Yeah, and fine. But all of a sudden, the storm clouds, if you're GameStop, start gathering because we're delivering it digitally, not physically, and there's no trade-in on digital
that's
content.
Right.
So this was, and so the retailers became the Luddites. They're trying to smash the machine, and look, I mean, many of them survived and flourished and still found a way to figure out their business changing in light of this. And music, they've gone through the same thing in music. You think about it, Best Buy in the old days, and they had 80 linear feet of CDs. I don't even know if they sell CDs anymore. I'm sure they do, but people still want that. But this was a fascinating period. And yes, I mean, there was a large cohort of gamers that just didn't like the idea of this. We still kept shipping discs, and we kept still working with our retail partners, but we were not in any way inauthentic about our intentions. And we said, look, we're building out back-end infrastructure, and we're going to be delivering this stuff digitally. At the same time, to the question, feels like a long time ago now, about subscription.
Yes.
We started to think about the future of what subscription services would be. Is there, because of course, this is the height of Netflix just taking off, and all of because of the power of broadband now, you could start selling subscriptions because there was a consistent experience you could have, whether it was content, whether it was video, whether it was music. This was the beginning of, the early days of a Spotify coming in. Zune, right?
Zune! That was me.
And it started actually with Origin. I don't know if you remember Origin, but your PC, and we started to experiment with subscription services that have buckets of benefit. A, direct to you consumer. B, discount on the game up front. C, early access of the game on a Thursday night when the game was shipping at midnight or 12:01 on Tuesday morning. And having that ability then to go into a vault, if you remember.
Yes, the vault.
Play all the games. So you had discounts, early access, and vault. And Origin, which we started playing around. What happens in this world of business when you're being disruptive and you're doing things that nobody's done before is you try things. And again, it's this mantra of fail fast, fail cheap. Is that working? What is the gamer saying? Are we seeing pickup on this? Are we seeing more sales with, albeit discounted, but are we seeing that? What is the engagement in the vault of games that we would put in the vault? That begat, EA Access. And we knew there would be a time, and maybe that time is coming, that where the streaming of everything would be, you've got 1,000 games at your disposal here, and you just go on. You don't need a disc, or you don't even need the full game download, but you play that game, and jump right in from from a platform, and this was the predecessor to what we're all seeing now. This movement towards streaming services.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you ever think about the day and date into the service?
Because I think King, they had for what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter. It was like you could play Madden or whatever day, like 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah, only 10 hours.
Yeah, 10 or something like hours. You trial it. Mm-hmm.
I think it was more like 3 days. And so,
Okay.
you know, what happened different than the old days of what's known as a gold master disc, and because you kind of went gold, 10 days prior, if you will, you went final, maybe it was 2 weeks prior, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And that give you, if you've downloaded the game, we would allow you then to get early access to play.
Yes.
And I think it was typically over a weekend. Mm-hmm. And so I think in my mind, A, that was a huge benefit, that the bragging rights, I'm playing Madden this weekend. And B, it allowed us a little bit to start seeing what the engagement was, what was working, what wasn't working. And if you had a good game, which most of the time, thankfully we did, word of mouth from the gamer rather than from me would go through. This is the time now social media is really kicking off. And so I'm talking about a decade ago. And so you would see that buzz online, hopefully, that, man, this feels good. This feels better than last year. This feels like what I've always wanted from a Madden, in particular here. And so that was the idea of doing that and monitoring over the weekend, load balancing on the servers. Do we have any problems? Are there any glitches that we hadn't spotted here that was going in there? So you could be ready for your full launch at 12:01 a.m. on a Tuesday when people had preloaded the game, if you remember.
Yes.
And then you go live, right? And so we flip the switch and the game is live.
Yeah, no, that was huge. And again, I love that we're mentioning this because you see, King, this was a predecessor to a lot of what we see now with early access and giving the gamer and then the word of mouth spreading. And let's be honest, the FOMO from the other game was like, man, he's playing the new right now.
Exactly.
I could jump in, and we're seeing, the results of that model kind of being copied. But I do want to, give you, your flowers in reference to, again, when you talk about blowing things up at the time of success, when physical is rocking, games are being played, you're making money hand over fist, but down the road, you're looking at that oil rig, right? You're looking at that burning thing. And if you don't adapt, right, you could be left behind. And I think it's pretty ambitious, but it's also scary, right? Because you're betting on the future that's not there yet. So I respect, obviously, John saying that to the company. Hey, a lot of you guys want to be there. If this is not something you're on board on, kind of move on. But I guess my question to you, Peter, in reference to this, because I see this come up a lot, which is betting on that future and all that investment, but then sustainability. And I guess my question is like, a lot of people have the trepidation where it's like, is this sustainable with these subscriptions? So like, what's your thought process on investing on something in the future that's not there yet, but you based on your metrics, you see where it's going?
Well, we believe, we knew, but we also were we knew what it was going to take to get there. So this concept, go back, of creative destruction was developed by a Austrian-American economist called Schumpeter. And he had said, this is how industries get destroyed. The steel industry in America, you don't evolve. And then everybody else eats your lunch elsewhere. And you've got to be willing to blow things up, even though they're doing just fine, so you can be ready for this next iteration of business and all of the environment, the ecosystem that is the new business. And so this is what we saw. And John and the executive team, including myself, we built for a digital future. And boy, did we take the brickbats and the abuse and whatever. But we locked arms on this, and we knew. And Wall Street hated it because we just weren't delivering the margins, because everything we were investing in was based on something that was going to deliver 2-3 years from now. Yeah. And our stock went down to less than $11.
Wow.
And that was tough for many of us that in the industry are, your compensation is built on equity a lot. Yeah. And so it's like, this is my future. And you look at your vested grants of something that may have been at $50 and now it's worth 11. So you're nervous, but we stood our ground. and we stayed the course. And fast forward,
I think.
Get it.
I was gonna say, I think one of the biggest things that like really, because I remember when EA Access was first announced, like it was that $30 a year option, and I remember so many people just gravitated towards that. It was insane, like it really was. And then Game Pass was announced, but at first Game Pass didn't have games day and date.
Correct.
That's something they added later on.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
So your competitive spirit at this point, because all right, now you're down, right? Because your stocks go to under 11, and you came from a thriving situation, and they show you an oil rig burning, and you're like, all right, okay, so we're on the oil rig right now. We got to put out these fires, but we understand that this is going to the future. Your thought process as a fighter, you knew everything lasts in seasons, and this season shall pass itself.
Yeah.
Going forward, what was the main thing that you can say that y'all held firm on that bear fruits later that gave y'all the most trouble early on? What was the main thing that you held firm on?
Well, I think holding firm on it, continuing to invest in again, what gamers take for granted, which is massive back-end infrastructure of service systems, customer service, seamless digital experiences. That takes hundreds of millions of dollars. And particularly when you're a global company, all of the stuff that we had to do to evolve from being a company that presses discs and ships them to a retailer and then goes like that, to a company then that actually is delivering digitally, and then at the same time building live operations, because now you're digital and now you've got access to a gamer's hard drive. You can be updating all the time to give better gaming experiences, and B, quite frankly, to give the company more opportunities to commercially engage with the customer rather than once or twice or 3 times a year as we were doing, and hope they come back again a year later for what was known as the last 3 feet of the sale, which is the reach on the shelf and then the just going back. We now saw a future where we could engage every day, 24/7, and the game formerly known as FIFA became the gold standard, and that's where we started investing in what we believe would be, because you've got a game that reflects the real world of soccer, which changes every hour of every day with scores in South America, scores in Asia, injuries, player transfers, red cards, penalties, VAR, all of the things that we do, and the storylines that are there. And then we developed the thing called the journey.
Remember.
So in answer to your question, King, we just believed in this future of software as a service, which is a kind of a productivity software term. But we saw that as the future here. Rather than make a game, put it on a disk, send the dev team to the beach for 2 weeks, come back, rinse, repeat. This was going to be live operations and a service. But a lot of pain, a lot of money needed to go in, and a lot of abuse. As we moved away, because I've said it 100 times, gamers don't necessarily like change.
You don't like change. We scared of that future.
And look, and so we bluntly saw the world very simply. Think of an inverted funnel, and all of a sudden it's 3 things. It's acquire, engage, monetize. That's the way the world works digitally. And you open that funnel wide, where everybody has access, and this is where free-to-play games came in. You engage deeply by great content, great engagement, fresh updates all the time, and then ultimately you monetize. Instead of monetizing at the top of the funnel, you now got, if you got 1 million people playing your game, now you got 10 million people playing game, because why wouldn't you? Because it's free. You lose a lot that don't quite engage where you're at, and you certainly lose a lot that don't want to spend money on the game each day or each week or each month. But that is the way that we saw the world emerging, and that's the way the video game industry, whether it's console, PC, or mobile, that's where it is.
That's where it went. Yeah, you got to beat your chest on that one. You're preaching, and I love the education here because, again, as gamers, look, we are afraid of change, and I get it. We resist it. We're stuck in our ways. We're so used to the thing, but that's where it was going, and that's the reality of the business. I want to pivot for a little bit in reference to what I consider like the pizzazz of what you did at EA. Like you were in the entertainment business, and I thought what was really interesting is like the marriage of of sports and the athlete. And I remember seeing you on these stages, and Muhammad Ali is there, and the who's who of sports. And like, what were your personal standouts moments at EA in conjunction with all the other things that you did in reference to athletes and sports and so forth?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we had Muhammad Ali, which was an amazing experience for me, and the ability for us to be able to, for me, and a great story, is we had him at E3, and I'm trying to think what year, probably 2008 maybe, and of course his Parkinson's tragically was taken. What Muhammad was doing then was communicating through little magic tricks. He could no longer speak. He could whisper a little bit, but he was uncomfortable and embarrassed. You could tell that this is, for me, one of the greatest athletes that's ever lived. Not only, in the ring, but what he did. Oh yeah, culturally. Yeah. So, and a great story that I will never forget is that my job was to actually sit with him off stage, and there we had a big screen that shows you what's on the big screen on our E3 stage. And I think at that time it was Robbie Bach was on stage with Don Matrix. So
the Don.
These days. And so, and I'm sat with Muhammad right there. And a moment I'll never forget. And he's pulling out his handkerchief, and he's got a little ping pong ball he's playing with. And he's watching the screen with me, and Halo 2, I'm sure it was on the screen. Okay. And Master Chief takes out a brute who goes down hard like this. And he leans over to me and goes, "Down goes Frazier."
Yo! Classic! Classic by the GOAT. Okay.
It was a whisper, but it was, and I still, when I say it, the goosebumps. So that Howard Cosell line of Frazier going down.
Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
Oh, that's a moment.
Never forget that moment.
That's a moment.
We got Muhammad on stage, and he was very frail, but it was just wonderful to be breathing the same oxygen.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, legend, and what's beautiful about it is you can see still sharp as a tack, inside, and to have a moment like that with the kick, that's got to be crazy.
Well, man. I mean, anytime you get a chance to meet him, I've met him one time. I used to box. He looked like he had a glow on him, like it was just something I can't really explain, but to me it looked like he had a glow, and I guess that was the moment in my life I just thought I would never get that opportunity. But that's a beautiful, like when you meet him, there's an impression that will stay with you forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Lord Peter, I gotta be fair. I gotta ask some tough EA questions now. So look, I want to be real with you because as a person, I'm such a sports guy, right? Like you, I'm a sports guy. I follow my teams. EA Sports, it's in the game. Remember, the little logos. We've been following it for so long, and it's synonymous with my gaming. And I guess with me, I get the dominance of FIFA. Like FIFA is a beast, and I always felt that was one of the stronger, franchises. But it kind of saddened me what happened to like NBA Live. And as a person who came up with NBA Live, 95 probably being the heyday, King, I remember he's doing that.
I bet you Kid Smooth's about to love you.
Yeah, like Kid Smooth, shout out to him. Like the NBA Live guys, we were there, and then, the annualization and kind of lack of quality that I felt. I actually did a presentation on stage about this, Peter, about the lack of quality of my beloved Madden with the anglization. And I can't lie, I still feel like your former franchise, NBA 2K, used to wipe the floor with them, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So what are your feelings about EA Sports, during your tenure? And you yourself said, when we had you on for part one, focus groups even said, like, they were kind of like the hated, arrogant star quarterback at the time. What is your thoughts on EA Sports? And I know Saul will appreciate missing MVP baseball as well, So what's your thoughts on EA Sports?
I loved being president of EA Sports. I loved the impact it had on sports gamers around the world. Look, every year there would be abuse about something, and we can talk about NBA Live in a second here, but one of the things we would always look at, and we would always treasure this information, is we would do research on all of our sports games we shipped, and then try to figure out what impact they were having on the real world of sports, whether it was soccer, whether it was the NFL, whether it was NBA, NHL, more recently UFC, obviously Tiger Woods golf, all of these things. And every time that research came back is that we were introducing sports, the sport, to a new generation of gamers coming through, a new generation of young men and women that got their first experience of hockey or American football or soccer with a controller in their hand. Right. And that then would lead them to be fans of, quote unquote, the real game, if you will. But we were the entree, we were the on-ramp, we were the thing that all of a sudden you're playing, and FIFA, the game formerly known as FIFA,
yes,
became the gold standard of this, because as we started building out, again, this software as a service, live operations, we brought the world of football, I'm going to call it now, to life with 15,000 players and with the ability through Ultimate Team to build your own Ultimate Team. So more and more in those later years of FIFA, we would do research that your average 10 or 11-year-old that was playing this game in Peoria, Illinois, could tell you what Lithuanian left back they should have in their team, or what, Barcelona reserve player was coming through that they were going to get as a bargain to put in their Ultimate Team. We introduced the world of sports to young people in a way that the world of sports couldn't have done it themselves. Because it was becoming more expensive, more difficult to attend live sporting events. Watching it on TV, it took too long. But took about, and EA Sports can still say that to this day. And that was our goal, was to bring that real life experience. So we started moving away from purely play a simulation of the game and go play another one and go play a friend across the world in this simulation, to building out experiences around that. All of the things we love about sports. It's Sunday, so the NFL is underway, and so and it's not just the 3.5 hours or whatever a game is, it's the lead up, who's injured, what happened on Thursday Night Football, what's going to go on this coming Sunday, and you get all of the lead up shows. And that was our role, was introducing that sport to young men and women around the world in a way that they felt comfortable, that they could research, wasn't going to take them hours sat in the living room, which they don't go in anymore, and they just and our research every single year. We would use the Warsaw School at University of Oregon, which was a great sports business school that would do all the research for us, and that research would always come back, and we took great pride in that. Absolutely.
No, I hear you. Again, it's just, I just want to go back to the glory days. But I understand the experience. Go ahead, Kate. I'll let you.
I have what happened to Fight Night?
like we got questions, but EA big. There was a lot of stuff.
My thing is, Fight Night. You guys came in and like won the fighting, because Sega had the champions boxing, and that stuff was great, and that's in our intro. I love those, Evander Holyfield boxing and Buster Douglas, and I'm a fan of all of that, every fighting game that ever came out. But EA came out, and I remember the year, it was Roy Jones and it was Bernard Hopkins.
Oh my God, that looked amazing.
To this day, to me, is the best looking feeling boxing game, and still can be played to this day on your Xbox.
Yes.
My thing was the licensees, because from my understanding, you guys had to negotiate per person to get them into the game. Did that become too cumbersome and you went to the UFC, where the UFC is under one banner and Dana White controls all of that, so you just paid the UFC and you was able to get the UFC instead of dealing individually with individual boxes that inflate their wealth? Was that the barrier? What was the barrier?
And was Floyd being difficult? I'm just joking.
So here's the deal. It's also about how many development studios and what is the opportunity cost, and where is the young fight fan, where are their heads, and where do we see the future being? So you remember Knockout Kings, of course.
Woo!
Right? So then when I'm there, we do fight night, and if you recall, Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson.
Oh,
So, but King, yeah, a little bit. It is not easy. You've got to deal with the promoters, with the fighters. It's not the I don't know what to say, cleanest sport.
are you implying that?
But it's difficult, and it's difficult. But we also, because remember, there was an interim step as we decided that mixed martial arts was going to be the future, and you've got to figure out, like, where's the puck going, as they say, right? And so we said, look, we've only got so many studios, and our Vancouver studio was working on this. We made the decision to develop first EA Sports MMA because the UFC license at that time.
Yes.
Then I remember going to see Dana White and in Vegas and with the Fertitta brothers. And, and just saying, look, we're in the market for this, and eventually we got it, and that's where UFC came about. But there was the step, and so we could only do so many things at once, and you move your studio and you say, look, to do MMA, and then ultimately with the goal of getting that UFC license, we just can't do boxing anymore, and the numbers didn't carry it either. And so. And it was a period where you look back, but everybody you mentioned, King, you had Lennox Lewis to that, and Sugar Ray Leonard, and all people that I had the pleasure of meeting and working with up in Vancouver. But they were people in the past, and there was nobody during that period. If you remember, maybe Roy Jones, but man, you want to go back to the days of Hearns, Hagler, but Floyd. Yeah, but who else? I mean,
exactly.
And look, I grew up with Ali versus Frazier versus Foreman and Larry Holmes. When there was a heavyweight championship fight, the world stopped.
Yes.
Right? Stopped. Right. And then for the viewers and listeners that may be a little younger, go watch When We Were Kings.
Oh, that's an excellent. God, yes.
Now, I'm sure you'll still find it on Netflix, but that was the golden era of boxing. With and I forgot to mention Joe Frazier. I mean, so you think about that. But I think the moment, in answer to your question, the moment in time is we looked at where the world of boxing was, and it just wasn't going to be attractive enough to our core gamer to deliver it, and we felt the future was MMA and ultimately UFC, and that's where we went.
Really quickly for my brother Saul, because it would be okay. So I feel you about to jump in, because I want to stay you a bone for MVP and MVP baseball, my baseball brethren, like, please.
Yeah, I mean, MVP baseball still to this day is one of the greatest baseball games ever made. And then immediately afterwards, you guys jumped to the NCAA license, and then after that, it was dead. Again, I'm assuming the story is kind of similar to boxing, whereas like the license costs way too much. The Players Association stuff, in addition to the MLB license, cost way too much. And at that point, it kind of seemed like Sony was sort of running away with it. Was that sort of the thinking about why they stepped away from baseball?
Why y'all relinquish that?
You've got to do the economics on these sports, and again, the opportunity cost. And you're right, Sony had it. If you remember the old days of 989 Sports, and Sony had it, right? So you start having first-party exclusives on platforms that you really can't then get on. And so, we love dealing with the MLB, and we were constantly sitting down with MLB and MLBPA, but it just wasn't working out economically. And what you need to do is give your dev team a chance to hit their targets, and also it's like where are the talents of this dev team better placed, and you make hard decisions. And so it just, during my period anyway, it just wasn't working out that we could get MLB, MLBPA together, look at the PlayStation platform, the Xbox platform, whatever Nintendo platform happened to be, the Wii or wherever at that time, and say numbers don't stack up. Unfortunately, and look, I love baseball as well, but it was one of those where, and obviously EA is now trying to do something a little younger with baseball. So, and I wish them the best there, but it just wouldn't economically stack up when we looked at license costs. We did the forecasts of units, and we looked at in particular the PlayStation platform, there was no room on there for us. So, because it was MLB The Show.
MLB The Show.
They had transferred to the show already from 989. They had become, Sony San Diego already, and they were doing the show.
Right. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but you can only do so much. And we were still doing during that period Tiger Woods, and it was, and then golf struggled a little bit as well, and moved to PGA Tour, and so you're constantly, unfortunately, having to make decisions. You don't want to let your studio go because they've put their heart and soul into a game that never really had a chance of coming out profitably at the other end. And that was always the challenge. Is you think about the studio, you think about the way you best deploy them, you look at the world of sports and you see the future and you go, we're going there.
No, fair enough. And it's fair, especially with the license. I'm sorry, Saab, you wanted to say anything? You good?
One more question.
Please.
So looking at these games now that come out on a yearly cadence, these devs have 9 months pretty much to put out a brand new game every year. But then you have that fluidity with the back end stuff, with like the Ultimate Team and stuff like that. Do you think some of these games would be better served as pure services, and where you say, hey, this is the base game for this generation, and we're going to sell you a $40 upgrade every year, as opposed to selling you a $70 product that they had to try to, when you look at it on the surface, doesn't look that much different from the previous year.
Right. And just to interject before you answer, Peter, the reason why I think it is also relevant, I was just interviewing your beloved Turn 10 and those guys, Kawasaki and Greenwald and Me and King were there. And this was the first time Forza Motorsport was actually, so it was going to be live service, that they were going to have this platform for the generation and iterate upon it. Is this something that ever came up in your meetings as well, to add on to what Sav asked you?
Yeah, it always came up, less in the meetings, but gamers were always asking the question, why do we need a full game every year that then iterates with downloads and updates and that live service we're talking about? But our decision was very much we're going to deliver, and the way it works is there's 2 dev teams working here. It's not that the dev team works 9 months, here's the game, go take a break and start on next year. You've got parallel development teams working a year out, and they're thinking about not next year's game but the year after, and what's technology going to empower in this, and what does our physics engine look like, and what audio and what is going to be the playlist, what is Steve Schnurr at EA going to do with put 100 songs on the FIFA game, and so from that perspective you're working in parallel. Your core team, yes, they're working to deliver next year's game, but you've also got a team that's thinking about the year after, and you've got a team that thinks live operations about what are we doing tomorrow morning. What are we going to update here, particularly within Ultimate Teams, which is not only the game formerly known as FIFA, but also in Madden and hockey, obviously. And that's the way it works. But yeah, the question always came up, well, we just felt it was best for the game, of the amount of content we had to deliver, it was best just let's get it out there every year and then iterate on that particular game.
That makes sense what you just said, because one year we will have a different feature that wasn't carried over to the next year. Like, one year we have the truck stick, or the next year we'll have like this cone vision.
Cone vision, yeah.
And I remember saying, why can't we have both? Yeah, but I understand, and that's how my stack went. And we would pick, if we're gonna play Madden, well, what year you want to play? Because what year you want to play dictates how good you're gonna be. Right?
Yeah. No, you need to be on the same year if you're going to play each other.
Yeah. That would be.
And the thing you guys got to remember, you add big features like that. It's like the dev team needs to figure out how it impacts everything else.
Yes.
Right? So it's this ability to put something in seamlessly that becomes. Look, you needed 2 or 3 things to talk about. I needed to go on stage and talk about these things on behalf of the dev team and make big deals of them, because they were big deals. But the dev team's got to figure out how to put them in there, how to make them work, make sure that you don't put something in that impacts everything else and the game falls apart. These were always the challenges we had, and these were hundreds of people working, and still are many hundreds of people working on this. So it's no trivial feat to do what EA and EA Sports did and continues to do, which is these massive experiences, not just the simulation of the game, the entire experiences that is reflective of the real world of sports.
Yeah, no, well said. And I definitely also during your tenure, kind of the resurgence of the single player games, and obviously you see what EA is doing now. I want to shout out our good friends at Patrick Wren at Respawn, who we've had on to talk about Jedi Survivor. I'm a huge Vince Zampella fan. And Vince, if you're listening, we'd love to have you in the realm. I got to shoot my shot.
Real quick before we go into that.
Yes.
People in the chat are asking us. I don't know if you can comment on this. But they want to know if you can comment on anything about Visual Studios and Dead Space.
Visceral?
Well, visceral.
Okay.
Yeah. Dead Space was great, and it had that eeriness that freaked me the hell out when I first. You just, if you remember it, you're like going around. You go, what's gonna jump out at me here? Right? And this is a period where. Just that time, we're getting. I don't know if it was 4K already by then, but we're certainly getting ultra high def. But more, and the brilliance for me of Dead Space was audio, was that surround sound of like, is it behind me? So, but in the end, and then Dead Space 2 came out. Visceral was in our Redwood Shores offices right there in the campus there, but. I don't know what the question is. I mean, it just didn't work out, and a lot of the Visceral team went and did other things, but Dead Space is one of those IPs that I'm sure down the road. And look, I've been gone a few years from EA now, so it's no point. But it's one of those IPs that's sitting there that one day somebody's going to go, let's give it another go.
Yeah, no, I hear it. The question I was asking before I asked the Visceral was just about. My beloved, I love Vince, and I felt my beloved Titanfall 2 never got that fair shake, Peter. I feel like you had it so close to Battlefield 1, and I feel they kind of cannibalize each other, and it saddens my heart that I wasn't getting it. And I think weren't you around your era during that tenure as far as, I think it was, because Mass Effect was still going on, I believe Andromeda, Dragon's Age, Titanfall was kind of around that era, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I love Vince, and Vince had, obviously
my guy
from Call of Duty, and gone nose to nose with Bobby Kotick in those days.
Oh yeah,
remember?
Oh yeah, Infinity War. I remember.
Yeah, and so I would start going down to LA and seeing what this Titanfall thing was all about.
Yeah,
because this was something that we believed in, and it was amazing. It just was something that. As more and more I saw of it, and we knew we were going to get behind it, which we did big time with the whole thing, because we just felt good about Vince. You feel good about a team, and then you trust the team, and they're innovators and they're disruptors, and they've got that bravado. That game's going to kick ass, and they were right. And when you're the publisher, you only see so much, in this, and you go, I just believe in Vince, and then you get inside the Titan and you go, this is a whole different experience than we've seen before. And then dropping those Titans in onto the battlefield with that HUD, it was just amazing. And then I'd gone by the time the coup de grace of Apex Legends comes out of nowhere. and that's classic Vince. And one of the great innovators in gaming history is Vince Zampella and his team.
Absolutely. Right. Real quick, I just want to give it. I got you guys. I just want to give it flowers. I completely agree. And in my opinion, he's never made a bad game. Continue, Kate.
All right, but before we move on
we gotta get Unity and stuff,
I have one thing. It's just an observation. When you went over to EA, and we got Donnie, and I think Donnie gets a bad rap, honestly. I wasn't a fan of a lot of things because, you're following a great, right? You walk out the door, you left on a super high note. Boy, how can you fill these shoes, right? But when you went over to EA, you made it a little bit more amicable to work with Microsoft. And Titanfall was there. My question is, and you can say no that you won't answer, but did you actively say I'm going to listen? Because before it was times it felt like EA really wasn't listening to Microsoft and was dealing with Sony, and your sensitive ear to somebody that you were actually with and you were on a high note and you know the struggles over there. Did you give that sensitive ear to Microsoft? Because Titanfall became a launch exclusive for Xbox, and that's my question. Was your ear a little bit more sensitive to Microsoft, knowing the struggles, knowing that they're the challenger brand, knowing that they're number 2?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, look, my heart was very much in Xbox, but I'm at that point chief operating officer of a third-party publisher, and so it's Robbie and the team that I'd left behind, and then Phil and Shane Kim and everybody, Jay Allard probably still around, and but also Jack Trenton and the team over there at Sony, and we needed to make sure that we were delivering on all the platforms. You can't favor one. I mean, there are times you do that. But the EA situation, I mean, just to put a ribbon around this, remember we were voted worst company in America. Right?
We're loved.
And so my view on that, the tallest trees catch the most wind. And this was a website called The Consumerist. And it was ridiculous, but a lot of it was focused on the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Oh, boy. Y'all had to put that patch out.
Yeah. So Commander Shepard dies, right? And it's just, and so there's uproar, and a little bit of, we were driving, a path that hadn't been walked before of downloadable content and microtransactions and moving towards free to play and always on. And so this was, the pioneers get the houses, but but the settlers get the houses, and we were doing. It's probably politically incorrect anymore, but from the perspective of what we were doing, we were trailblazing, and we were trying to figure out where this industry was going, and we were unafraid of being the company that would give it a go. As a result, the Consumerist made us, and it was somewhat laughable, but I always remember that we're in San Francisco, and the lead story on the news that night was Bay Area company voted worst in America. And this was the same year that BP had pretty much polluted the entire Gulf, right? And so, and it was hard on the employees. And so we needed to rally. But also there was this reflection moment that we had at EA. So I developed a program called Reputation Rehabilitation, a little bit of literally a mouthful, but Rep Rehab, we called it.
I love this.
And we listen, and we go, you know what? Let's take a listen. Let's look. Let's reflect on this, because a little bit where there's smoke, there may be some fire on this. And we then started to think, how can we engage better with our gamers? And so Rep Rehab was a very definitive program to take on board criticism, think about how we engage better with our customer, with the gamer. I started jumping on Twitter, which David Tinson, my head of comms at the time, who's now the CMO there, said, you're not going on Twitter. There's not,
you was too loose?
There's nothing to be gained on this. But we started to engage and helping gamers and talking to gamers. And this was part of an outreach program that allowed us to at least understand what the frustrations were. Yeah. And this is pretty typical of industries that are going through mammoth change and companies that are leading that change, and they're sticking their neck out, doing things that now, everybody does it, but somebody's got to go first and do it. And so we did that. Concurrently, internally, I needed to get morale back again. Yes. And so I'm the chief operating officer. And so being a marketer, I developed a team that not only reported to me, but also from all parts of the company. And I called it the engine room. And, got a logo and with the steam on the pistons, the oil on the wheel and gears. And we hauled our way back through the engine room to be able to get to where EA got to when I was there, and certainly still is, which is a powerful digital profitable company that Wall Street embraces, that the 9,000 employees, whatever it happens to be, can feel good about their jobs, and their compensation package and their equity is good, so they can take care of their families and get a little bit of stability and consistency back, because those were rough times, very difficult times. But we did all of that because we believed in the future, but also there was pause for thought and reflection. We started to look at the tweets and the inbounds that customer service was getting, said, maybe we can do better.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because it also reminds me of the Dreamcast days in your focus group, kind of reading the temperature of the room and the assessment period, right? And it's needed if you're truly going to improve and reflect it. And I love that you guys did that during the height of the storm, because it can't feel good internally, right? So I even love the verbiage of rehab. Like that's really cool, like to really put that out there. So salute to you, kudos to the team. You guys ushered a tremendous era right there during EA, and I definitely want to give you your flowers there, because again, trailblazing, doing things that people may be scared of, but this is where the industry is going, that inevitability, and it's really cool to see. I know we're going to get into Liverpool, but I want to skip ahead just slightly, because I don't feel people talk about your tenure at Unity a lot, and what I feel is, like, you were named, was it senior vice president and a GM of Unity Sports and Live Entertainment. And what did that entail? And then also, last time you mentioned that you wanted to talk about volumetric capture, and what, just tell us about that whole tenure.
Well, when I left Liverpool, and obviously we'll talk about Liverpool.
We're gonna say that for last.
And coming back, John Riccatello reached out. He saw that I was leaving Liverpool and reached out to me. And again, at this point, I've known John since 1999, when I joined Sega, and EA didn't develop for the Dreamcast platform. So we've either competed against each other, we've collaborated during the Xbox era, and then of course I worked for him at EA, and then he went off and did a little bit of work in venture capital Elevation Partners with Bono of U2, but then came back into the industry with Unity. And so he said, look, we're working on volumetric capture and real-time 3D and the creation of experiences outside of the gaming world that we think can be useful and applied. And he says, when I think sports, I think you. And so I came in knowing nothing what he was talking about, but very quickly saw this opportunity to use volumetric capture, which is different than motion capture. So let's get the terminology right. Mocap, you're wearing your neoprene suit with your mark on it, and you're seeing the articulation of the body that can then be interpreted in simple terms into a wireframe that's then skinned to look like an avatar, an athlete, whatever it happens to be. Volumetric capture is actually massive camera arrays that are capturing data in real time of body movement, and then going into what's called a solved solution, and then spitting out, after a while, that takes a lot of computing power, the actual visual again, that you can then manipulate and work with. So in 3 dimensions, and what we call 9 points of freedom here of the movement 3-dimensionally. And so when I got there, small team of 6, which ended up by the time I left in earlier in January this year, there was 80 of us, and we developed something called Metacast, which was very much looking at the future of sports and how you would interact with sports. So, and this will happen. There's no doubt in my mind in that, let's say World Cup 2026 here in North America, that you watch a goal being scored and you go to your phone or your tablet 10, 15 seconds later, and you then drop yourself into the penalty area right behind the player, and then you spin around looking at what that player is doing as if you're in the penalty box. Or you want to see the tackle made, it's controversial, is it a penalty? You've got these 9 degrees that you get 9 points of freedom that you can look at here. So from that perspective, an incredibly talented team.
Wow.
Adam Myhill in particular, who had developed Cinecast and Cinemachine. So these ways of visualizing data in its early years. So camera and lighting was key. But we developed this thing called Metacast. Concurrently, I was also doing live entertainment, which coming out of COVID, there was the belief, and still is, that we're going to go and have concert experiences without having to go through the hassle of the arena. And so we worked through that, and we were very fortunate to get a client, Insomniac, who do EDM, and they focused on EDC in Las Vegas and Orlando and all the places that did it, and started working on this virtual experience that you could be part of Electric Daisy Carnival, and then have this EDM experience, which are massive if you've ever been to one. And I was fortunate to go a couple of times in Vegas. And so the virtualization of the live entertainment thing. But you know, I got my iPad here as I'm talking. I may be able to show you what I'm talking about with Metacast. You know, we can.
I'll talk while you pull it up, because it kind of reminds me of my work at Meta with where they had Horizon and basically watching the NBA games like live on courtside with a VR headset and just different events that will kind of put you into the heart of it. You can reach out and touch of it.
Didn't the NFL have something kind of like that? Because when I had the package, you were able to view the tackle from different angles. Like, because they had this camera that will run the length of the field, and it was like the eye in the sky, and you would be able to like zoom in. And I understand what you're talking about is a little bit way more in depth, way more in depth. But we were able to see the play from different angles and get low in the field. And I missed that part from Xbox One, that passed through and all that other stuff that was implemented. But it was good features that were there. So.
Yeah. This demo is going to take too long to load, but what we're talking about, King, is called the Spider Cam. And so that takes you right down. But what we're talking about is you could be under center. Literally, you can drop yourself there, because the camera systems of stadiums of the future, there'll be hundreds of them that are not just capturing video or visuals or film, they're capturing data and then reconstituting that data as interactive experiences that you can touch and spin that player. You want to see if a receiver's route as if you're the cornerback, and that is huge. So that's the work that I did at Unity. We did Metacast and then Unity Show, which is a platform which allows promoters and even artists themselves to develop these kind of interactive experiences where you can sit at home and have fun watching a concert. Concerts, as we know, are not cheap anymore. So, I mean, the ability for you to have a $20 experience. I mean, look at Taylor Swift tickets and just, And a few weekends ago, my wife and I in Vegas, we saw Adele on Friday night. We saw the B-52s on Saturday night. We saw Queen Bee herself, Beyonce, on Sunday night.
The Queen!
I can't tell you what that cost.
Yeah, I understand. I like, the only thing I like about COVID is the VR experience that I have. I had my Oculus Quest 2, and I put it on, and I'm able to be at a UFC fight ringside, or I'm able to be at a concert and look over and see people. That ability to be in the comfort of your home and to still experience the live event for a fraction of the cost. Because I understand you physically being there costs astronomical, and me virtually being there costs a fraction of the cost or whatever it is. And I honestly believe that's exactly where entertainment is going, to reach more masses. So, Unity's on the right track, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, we're proud of the work we did. Look, live entertainment and sports are becoming exclusive, and technology needs to make them inclusive, where you can't get there. I mean, we'll talk about Liverpool. One of the things that was very clear to me when I got there, we probably have 300 million fans around the world. I mean, just at the very minimum, that put the hand up and say, I'm a Liverpool fan. I bet 99.5% of those fans will never see Liverpool live. I mean, so that and it's both a shame, but it's the fact of life when you become a global entity, as Liverpool is, and Manchester United and these massive clubs that have got multi-generational support that goes back from the 60s and 70s, and as TV started to become part of the way you would experience it. Because when I grew up in England, there was no live sports on television, because the business model was very much, you go to the stadium and you push a couple of pounds through the turnstile, because it was a business model based on attendance, not engagement. And so things changed radically. But that was And again, at Liverpool, I learned and took with me so many lessons I'd learned in video games about engagement. That was critical.
Well said, well said. I love what you said. I love what you were doing there. I do feel that is the future as far as, 3D in sports and entertainment and getting that virtual experience, that really cool tech. I do have one last question, because I know we got to get Liverpool next, but I do have one last Unity question, and it's a tough one because I do have to ask you, because I know what you were doing is kind of separate, what I'm saying, from kind of like Unity developing in a game and working with that. But with everything that's going on right now, obviously there's a strong developer pushback in the community on this latest Unity runtime fee. What are your thoughts on that? And then obviously the latest amendment / apology, that was sent out by Unity to the dev community.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make things good. Mark Whitten sent an apology out, and he led off with "I'm sorry." And there's a lot of amendments, to your point, to the runtime fees and whether it was going to be retroactive and going forward here. Look, I love working at Unity. There are 8,000 very talented, hardworking people there. And what we have to remember, and whether we like it or not, they're a publicly traded company that has only made a profit in 1 quarter of their public existence. And they have invested hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, in building out the Unity platform and engine. And at some point, for them to be sustainable and to continue, they got to find ways to make money that are consistent and material. Maybe this wasn't the right way, and maybe there should have been a lot more listening and consensus building and what have you. And I think Mark, in his apology, outlined that we should have listened better. We should have sat down with in particular our indie developers to understand what impact was on this. But ultimately, this is a company that's invested not only in gaming but in real-time 3D, automotive design, and engineering and architecture. They're using their game engine platform to bring things to life in different industries, and where video games can actually enhance all the things that we use outside of gaming. And in particular, go talk to the automotive designers now that we're used to doing things in clay, which always seemed ridiculous to me. But now, whether they, to your point, King, put their VR helmet on and they're designing the cockpit and the ergonomics of their BMWs and their Audis and their Mercedes in real time. And that's a video game engine doing it for them. So, Unity just needs to figure out what the next 3, 4, 5 years look like, and how they're going to be sustainable, and how they are going to be able to have a positive impact on our industry. Continue to support indie developers. The Unity engine, by far the majority of independent developers use Unity.
Absolutely.
Because it was cost effective and efficient. I mean, I know it has its critics, but if it's not this, it's got to be something else. They've got to figure out how they, without impacting negatively the business model of the independent developers, how they can actually make some money.
I agree.
So that they can keep everybody employed and keep Unity going.
No, well said, well said. First of all, respect your transparency there. This man, I love up here. He don't dodge nothing. He about this, folks. That's why I love you. Liverpool's in the building. So we're here for the main event. This is what we say the last one.
That's right. Let's go.
And look, I'm just so amazed by this, because this is one of the coolest parts of your journey, in my opinion, right? The pride of Liverpool coming back home, CEO of his hometown club. So despite giving me my first love, I think this has to be one of your greatest milestones. This is amazing. And of course, the success you have there. You will never walk alone. So let's talk about it. How did all of this go down?
Well, it's again, an executive recruiter.
We got to get your context. I need your black book, man.
I knew he was going to say a recruiter reached out.
These guys keep showing up. So they call, and I'm trying to think exactly when it was. It was probably late 2016, in the fall of 2016. And I got a call. And people that have been fortunate enough to have some career success are constantly getting pinged. There's a role here and what have you. And so I got a call from a recruiter, Spencer Stewart, one of the biggest recruiters in the world, and it's their London office. And they go, hey, would you ever consider moving back to England again? And I always remember I'm in my office at the EA, I'm looking out, the sun is shining, and I love EA, and I'm about to enter my 10th year at Electronic Arts, and the stock's back to 125, 130, and we are firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Peter almost said, "You have a nice day, sir."
I mean, the paycheck was nice. The weather's nice.
Everything is fantastic.
Let's go.
You gotta blow it up when it's good. Let's go.
Well, that's it. Right there. A bit of creative destruction is about to jump into the story.
That's right. That's my man.
And the recruiter says, well, what if it was to be chief executive officer of Liverpool Football Club?
All right. Did your heart stop?
There might have been a pause on the line at that moment. And so you've got to understand, my dad first took me to watch Liverpool in 1959. I went to see Liverpool versus Leyton Orient. Liverpool won 4-3 at Anfield. I was 4 years of age, and I was smitten. And any kid in Liverpool at that period, you're either red or you're blue.
Yeah, it's
You're
Beavers.
Liverpool or you're Everton. There's nowhere in between, and you had to have a club.
Scouts.
And my dad, it is Scouser talk, and this is
Let's
my
go.
dad's team and my granddad's team. So this goes back
Family.
1920s, 1930s, and and so I gave it some thought, a lot of thought, and my wife Debbie, who California girl and never lived in Liverpool, and I it was gut wrenching to make the decision to leave EA, and I will never forget what had happened. Is we came to an agreement, but I wanted to see through Q1 or actually the final. Yeah, it would be Q1 calendar 2017, Q3 fiscal for EA, because it was getting to the end of the fiscal year, and I wanted to make sure that I just wasn't walking away, and also there was a timing issue at Liverpool. And so I agreed, I think, in January to the contract, and then we had actually an April date that I was going to announce I was leaving at the end of the quarter, and everything would be smooth and the transition would be great. I get a call on the morning of February 28th in 2017 at about 5 a.m. And it's my new bosses, Fenway Sports Group, who own the Boston Red Sox. And it says, hey, we got a problem. A newspaper in England, and a newspaper that I will never talk about, that is a rag of immense proportions, has got wind that you're going to be the new CEO. And they're going to run that story at 10 o'clock tonight on their online portal. And because I'm a Section 16 officer of a publicly traded company, that's got an impact to that company. So I had to then resign or make the company aware that this story was coming out and that I was going to be leaving EA. And a moment again, I never will forget. So I go to work and it's like 7:30 in the morning, and I call Andrew Wilson, my boss.
I remember Andrew.
And Andrew is at breakfast. He said, Andrew, I need to meet. When are you coming in? He said, well, I'm going to a lunch breakfast meeting. What's going on? I said, well, I don't want to do this over the phone, but I need to tell you, I'm going to leave EA. And there's a pause. He's driving. There's a pause. And he says, where are you going? You going to another publisher? What are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to be the new CEO at Liverpool Football Club. And then there's a longer pause.
Yeah, he's like, I can't compete with that.
and no, better than that. And his voice starts breaking, and he says, mate, I couldn't be more happy for you. I'm sad for us. I couldn't be more happy for you. And I know what this means to you. And I said, yeah, I mean, Andrew, the only place this is the only job that I would take and leave EA. And we then scrambled because we had to announce at the close of the bell that I was going to be leaving. And he wrote what's known as an EA action, which is a announcement to the entire company that was wonderful. He's a Chelsea fan, so he got it. Again, you always remember, and I always tell everybody, you're remembered by how you leave.
Yes.
Right? So always, when you leave a company, that's all people will remember. If you leave angry, throwing grenades, talking about people in a negative way on the way out, and being bitter. That's how people remember you. So I always say you're remembered by how you leave. And so I then worked for another couple of months, and we got everything in place and got my team in place and a succession plan, and then left, jumped on a plane with Debbie and 7 suitcases and a great day, and headed to Liverpool, and started work almost immediately, getting ready for the 2017-2018 season.
Man,
I bet you at the end of the day, he's like, you know what? I hate to lose Peter, but at least he ain't going to the competition.
Because you can hear the fear, the trepidation, like, what competitor is he going to?
Where you going? You going to Activision?
Yeah. There's nowhere else I would go in the industry, but this was special to me. Look, my dad imbued this love of the club. My dad has "You'll Never Walk Alone" on his gravestone. I mean, just the whole element of what the club means and what it's given so many people in a city that's had some really tough times. But we always had football, and we always had the ability to be able to look forward to 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon when the games used to be played, because whatever tough times we were going through, we would have this that we could forward to. And fortunately, it's a great club with a great history that's won a lot of trophies and brought a lot of joy to people.
Yeah, you brought success there. 2 quick questions regarding Liverpool that I have to ask from our website, lordsofgaming.net. Our editor-in-chief, Mahmoud, he big Liverpool fan, and he says, did anyone from the squad recognize you from your gaming career and geek out in front of you? And then the second question is from our another editor at lordsofgaming.net, Dan, a.k.a. Infinite Ammo. He says he's a huge LFC fan. He said, Peter, we won our first Premier League trophy under your tenure. The one question I'd like to know is, if he had to choose anything specific, what made the difference in your opinion? Was it the manager Klopp, a certain player you signed, or something else? So did people geek out? And then about the Premier League trophy.
I don't know if they geeked out, but people might remember Jordan Henderson, the Liverpool captain, being on the cover of FIFA the year before. And I may or may not have had a lot of.
You may. That's what I'm talking about. Wait, hold on, King. I think that was the Champions Edition.
Listen. So he already stole my question. That was. I was doing some real research last night. So you already stole my question. When you playing the game, and you playing your team.
Oh, come on, King.
Did you envision? Because I know you were sitting there, I'm running up, I'm going to win, I'm going to do this. But now you got the actual shot. There's one way. I mean, I could sit there and play the Jets all day long. No recruiters in my DM, but if they ever gave me the recruiting job, you want to be the CEO of the Jets, and my thoughts on actually winning. Now you have the opportunity to do so. Did you say, oh, hell yeah, we gonna win, and they're gonna do it under my tenure?
Let's go.
You could say all you like, but actually delivering. And look, I very clear, I ran the business of football and left Jurgen Klopp and his team to do everything they needed to do on the pitch. Awesome. It was my job, and more importantly, the 800 people that work for the club that didn't kick a ball, to provide everything, the financial support to be able to buy the great players, the logistics to make sure that all they had to worry about was winning on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Champions League, and building the club and getting closer to our fans. And one of the things that I did, very controversially, and upon reflection, took some risks and did some stupid things, was get engaged on Twitter with our fans, which many, if not most, Premier League CEOs would never dream of doing. And ownership was not a fan of this, but I felt, being a Liverpudlian, living in Liverpool, and what was needed, they were kind of what we call absentee owners. They didn't live there. They would come over for games from time to time, but I felt, rightly or wrongly, that we needed to engage. Liverpool as a city and Liverpudlians as a people are a warm group of people that circle the wagons around that city and take great pride in who they are. There's an expression, I'm Scouse, not English. It's the People's Republic of Liverpool, and football is absolutely core to that entity and that belief. And look, these are people in a large part that don't have a lot going for them,
Yeah,
that have been much maligned over decades from the British government, and you know, don't mention Margaret Thatcher's name in Liverpool. So you've got this concept of we'll get by ourselves. We don't need your help, and so. And football was an important part, the crutch that allowed people to be able to do that. So, I mean, when I think of what needed to be done, and look, I'd rather be lucky than good, as I always say. And Jurgen was building a squad that was capable, as we were by the end of the second season, the best team in the world. And actually going to Qatar, to Doha, and becoming FIFA Club World Champions as we did. As I'm fond of saying, we became champions of everything and everywhere because we'd won the Champions League, we won the Premier League, we won the Super Cup, which is European champions together, and then eventually won the FIFA Club World Cup. And so anything we could win, we had won. And nothing to do with me as regards scoring goals or clearing balls off the line. It was everything to do with that team. But my job was to have my very talented people there in Liverpool and around the world, making sure that Jurgen and the team had nothing to worry about except putting the ball in the back of the net.
Ooh, man. And that's the huge part, though.
Yeah.
That part right there. No distractions, no cares. You just go play. I'll handle everything else.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That allowed people to succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, your track record speaks for itself. Like,
no, it's beautiful.
We can't avoid the fact that everywhere you go, you leave in better situation than you came there with.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and again, that's why I wanted to say that one for last because I know we're at time. But it's one of those things where it's like the conquering hero. He returns home, you know, and then you have this magical story. And as a person who is very fortunate, I have a good friend of mine. Shout out to Lord Greg, who is the biggest Liverpool fan. Remember, I'm an American kid. All I know is football. You know, all I know is American football. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's like, you have to come with me. And I remember getting on that plane. I go to England, and then I jump on some train, and it was a long ride, and I get to Liverpool. And to your point, yeah, you could tell the climate was different, right? The energy was different. But I remember walking into Anfield. I still have the video. I'll send this to you, Lord Peter. And I will tell you right now, when we were playing, you guys were playing Hull, and you guys won the game. But during, it was the Hull was outside. Their fan, it was a thing, right? And I think you guys had Suarez at the time. It was a big thing, whatever, right? And I get there, and I don't know what's about to happen, King. And you hear a whole stadium singing this song of "You Will Never Walk." It is the most emotional, magical thing I pulled out my phone. I have it till this day and recorded. I'm like, what is happening? This is magic right now. And I have to admit, there was no energy in any sport that I've ever encountered that matched that energy. It was amazing. So I have photos, I have pictures. It was so cool to go to my first game, you know, and it was Liverpool. And again, so I know what it means, you know, to the people and how you guys take so much pride in that. And salute to you for bringing home the trophy and all that good stuff. And, you know, I guess the final things before we get you out of here is, you know, obviously, you know, you did that. You're back home. Right? I'm assuming Lady Debbie's happy about that. Santa, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you got some sky going on, some Santa Barbara sky. So yeah, talk to me about that before you.
Well, we came back. You know, we had seen, if I didn't already know, the impact that football can have on people, on community, on people with disadvantaged situations. But it gave them hope, and I think. And Debbie would tell you this, we had won the Champions League in Madrid on June 1st. We beat Spurs 2-0. We partied all night long in the hotel. And we jump on the team plane the next morning at 6 a.m. We didn't go to bed. And we go back. We leave 50, 60,000 of our fans in Madrid. We fly back to Liverpool the next morning, and we all go shower at the training ground, and then the buses, open top buses, arrive because we're going to go through the streets of Liverpool with the Champions League trophy. And I was in one of those moments that you will never forget. They said, get on the bus. And it's like, I didn't do anything here, but I got on the bus with the team, with Virgil van Dijk, with Mohamed, obviously Jurgen. And we set off what turned out to be a 4-hour journey through 750,000 people from start to finish of showing them the trophy. And Debbie was on the bus behind. And again, from her perspective, she'd never experienced anything like this. But you're driving through in Liverpool, Kensington, Islington, Tobruk, some of the most disadvantaged postcodes in all of Britain.
That's what I noticed. Yep.
In all of Britain. And you're driving, and we are showing them the trophy, and
the tears.
You can sometimes see in people poverty, and by that, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you can see in their faces and their body language and their demeanor. These are people that just haven't had a fair shake in life and have grown up in tough circumstances, but they had Liverpool Football Club, and that allowed them to be part of something bigger than they were ever going to get in their real life, which is a tough life. And as we're showing them a trophy and leaning over the bus, you see the grown men crying, and just because this means so much to them. Then we ended up, and what I did as well is I have a picture of my dad on my phone, and I was able, and my dad had been gone 20 years, and I was able to show Dad the trophy, what was going on. So we had that, but we ended up on the Liverpool waterfront where there were 250,000 people. We'd left most of our rabid fans back in Madrid because there was no way they could get back. But it was spectacular. And only then do you realize what the impact of this game is. So concurrently, I've been lucky in life. EA had been good to me financially. So when we went to Liverpool, we formed our own charitable foundation, the PeterMoore Foundation. And we focused on food banks because 1 in 5 families in Liverpool couldn't put food on the table at night and needed a food bank. And so we focused on that. My mom was a nurse at Alderhay Children's Hospital post-World War II. And so we funded treatment rooms for children that were burn victims and that needed to come in and get special treatment. Cancer, horrifically, in the north of England, 50% of people will get cancer before they die. And it's an unbelievable number. That's a little lifestyle driven. But when you get into disadvantaged communities, cancer rates are raised, unfortunately. And that's the way it is around the world. So supporting cancer hospital is what we do. So fast forward to coming back to Santa Barbara, and we still do that. In fact, we're going over the end of next week. I'm speaking in Belgium on football management, but then going to Liverpool to support these charities the second week in October. But then coming back to Santa Barbara, we wanted to do something. There's no professional sports team in Santa Barbara, and soccer, as we all know, is exploding right now, and just decided that I'm going to fund the new Santa Barbara Sky, which is a name we selected, and we're going to be playing in USL League One. And something, again, giving back. And concurrently, we've formed a foundation that even before we kick a ball, we have a charitable foundation called Fundación Cielo, the Sky Foundation, that's probably going to spend most of its time looking at disadvantaged families here in Santa Barbara, because any affluent community, and I don't care how much money there is often there's an engine room back there of people that mow the lawns and clean the streets and serve in restaurants. And we have that here, and they have a tough time as well. So that's the little bit of the foundation, Santa Barbara Sky, and I'm very proud. Debbie and I are very proud to be the founding owners.
Awesome.
That was going to be my question, because last night when I was doing the research, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you started the foundation and, the cancer research and to give back. And my question was, what sparked that fire in you to do that? And you answered that question, going through the ride through Liverpool and showing your father, and I'm that moment that he took you to see the game and he planted that seed inside of you, and you had that burning fire since then, all the way to lead you to the point of giving back the philanthropy that you are doing and the foundation. I just wanted to commend you on that, because doing that, I said, wow, this man had this meteoric rise, and every place that he did leave, he left in better condition than he got there. And the huge impact that you have made, I know this will be tremendously successful I understand that to be, because I know your passion lies in this right here. So it was just that rise to get to this spot that you are right now. So it was just something that eye-opened, and you answered the question. So I was going to lead to that question here, but you answered it already. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. And look, you follow your dreams, and it's a cliche way, but things open up when you work hard and you believe in things. And I've been very fortunate. A lot of crossroads in my life, and making the right decision, as it turned out, has been that way. You've got to then, I have a TED talk that I did a number of years ago that you'll find.
That's all right.
That basically I finish with, embrace the tree that bore you, because from there the boughs that support you of who you are. And I've always lent very heavily on being born in Liverpool, growing up in a pub, being a physical education teacher. These are the things that informed my career. Nothing to do with going to executive business courses, but that school of reality and hard knocks, and watching your parents strive, and then believing in yourself to be an immigrant, as I am, and come to this country and struggle for a couple of years, and I can look back at having made a difference. And that's when we leave this planet, that's the way that you want to think about what you've done in your life. Not how much money you made, or how big your house and your cars are, but what impact you've had on other people and their lives, and maybe a generation after you're gone, because of what you've done for them, or how you've inspired them, are in a better place as a result.
Well said, brother. This is tremendous. I mean, I'm so glad we got to get through these chapters with you, and the journey, like you said, the impact you made. I just love hearing that, especially, again, being fortunate to visit Liverpool. And I'm glad you said about, the conditions. And some of my coolest friends are from Liverpool, and I sense that spirit, right? And it's so damn cool. So again, we're going to get you out of here, because you gave us so much time, and we really respect it. We do a tradition that we have with all the guests in the realm on their exit. It's kind of funny, no pressure, but top 5 video games or franchises of all time. No pressure. What it means to you.
Oh, okay. So these are my
personal
top 5 and the impact. Well, I think, I hate to start with 2 shooters, but Halo and Gears of War, from the perspective of 2 things that I personally got behind heavily, including tattoos. It's those 2 huge impact on the Xbox platform. EA Sports FC, formerly known as FIFA. I was so fortunate to be, interesting, Andrew Wilson was running FIFA at that time, but to be there as we went up against Pro Evo Soccer, had the courage to change the engine, to move to a new engine in 2008, and all of the downside of that, so that we could hit the ground running and get that big hockey stick bounce. Sorry to mix my sports metaphors.
Now you good.
There's that. And then I go back, Sonic has always been good to me.
There you go.
Maybe Sonic Adventures, I think of those things. And then some of the wackiest stuff, right? I mean, I still think back of the Sega days of things like Seaman and Typing of the Dead.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers Typing of the Dead, and Crazy Taxi, we were talking about the other day, how we used to in those days pay Pizza Hut and KFC to be in the game.
Yes.
Right? We actually paid them to be in the game.
Now they pay.
Absolutely. And 2 of my daughters work for EA, and I'm very proud of that. And one of them, she does in-game product placement and sponsorship and advertising, and every time I talk to her about it, the amount of money she's talking about for brands that want to be in games because they know the impact that games have. So that would be my ad hoc list right off the top of my head.
All right. So the last one is the Sega collection. Right. So I'll give you the Sega collection. First one was Halo, Gears. Then we went to FIFA, and we had Sonic, and the last one is the Sega collection.
Crazy Taxi. You got Crazy Taxi. Here's what we got for now.
Let's not, and King, let's not forget Samba de Amigo.
Oh yes, I had the maracas. that was one of the best peripherals. I mean, outside of a gun for yeah.
Peter with the maraca. Oh, I see the moves. I see them with the moves.
Strike the pose.
Strike the pose.
They got to bring it back, man.
Strike the pose.
How can you not like a monkey in a sombrero and maracas? Which then reminds me of Super Monkey Ball.
Super Monkey Ball. Classic.
One of my favorite games, too.
And the final game question, which is tradition.
Yep.
I think I know the answer to this.
Me too.
But we got to be fair and unbiased. Lord Peter's favorite console of all time and why?
Well, it obviously it's the Dreamcast because it blazed a trail, and it blazed a trail under tough circumstances where people at the time didn't trust Sega, felt burned by Sega. They believed in the PlayStation. The PlayStation 2 was coming, but little plucky Sega and very talented people around the world, particularly my team in downtown San Francisco, we believed in the Dreamcast. And whilst we didn't see it through to where we wanted it to, its legacy remains to this day. And there are fingerprints of what the Dreamcast did on every game and every piece of hardware and every service. Somewhere along the line, the Dreamcast informed some of that. And so many developers who are making games today, makes me feel old, but we're teenagers playing Sega Dreamcast and fell in love with video games as a result.
Factual. The legend. That is Peter Moore. Thank you so much for all the time you blessed us with. Thank you for the part 2. We learned so much, man. We learned so much from you. And again, the competitive nature, the challenger brand, the showmanship, the forward thinking, the educator, it's really a pleasure to get insight. One of the reasons why we started Iron Law Podcast is to give flowers to those in the industry. Because sometimes as gamers, we think we know what's going on, but we don't. We don't. And it's good to have your insight. And again, thank you so much. Let's get our outros for the legend, Lord Addict. You want to say outro for the legend that is Lord PeterMoore?
Yeah, I want to appreciate you coming on, Peter, especially during the hurricane. It couldn't have been me. The moment they talk about hurricane, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm out. We'll talk to you next week.
That man drove through a hurrane to stay with us.
Water and wind speed do not mix with me, okay? So, and I want to thank you, personally, because it's like I said last time you here, the 360, like I loved, the Series X generation, the Xbox One generation, it's where I met most of these guys. But the 360 generation, that's probably what made me like roots into gaming. So, I really want to appreciate that.
No doubt, Lord Soft. Outros to the legendary Peter Moore.
Yeah, Peter, thank you for coming through. Apologies for not speaking more. I'm just coughing into the microphone. But yeah, I honestly, what I've seen about you and your journey is that I love the fact that you're a person who you're humble, but at the same time you have this expertise and bravado when it comes to selling a product that you're passionate about, working for a company that you're passionate about. And then you have a heart behind it too, and you understand, all the hard work and effort and that people put into these products. And I just love the fact that you're somebody at the highest levels of management who understands that as well, and is able to balance those two things and see the people that create the product and the people that love the product for who they are. And I just love that. So you can sell me anything any day of the week. I will buy it. It does not matter. It does not. But we in.
Peter's behind it. We in.
No questions asked. So thank you so much for joining us again. I appreciate you.
The actual Lord King. Outro to the legend, Peter Moore.
The first interview, I did video reference on you. I was watching a lot of interviews, and I walked away knowing stuff, but I didn't. I said, when I see him, I had references, right? So then we did the interview, and the interview was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And everybody was talking about it, and it was like, this guy is super interesting. And this is the reason why we do this, right? I never thought in a million years I'd get a chance to interview you or have a conversation with you. So I was super pleased on that, on the efforts of LordCognito and Lord Attic in the background. These guys work tremendously hard, and our wish was always to have that conversation with you. You was probably at that point, no, you were at that point our greatest CEO at Xbox. And then you went over to EA and you did your stuff there. And we didn't follow the journey as much and as intensely as we should have after you left Xbox and went to EA. Then last night I'm doing my research because my wife was like, "What are you doing? What's up? What are you still up for?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got Peter tomorrow, and I got to dig deeper. I can't do the surface stuff on the video. I got to dig deeper." Went to your Wikipedia. I don't ever go to anybody's Wikipedia, but I'm in your Wikipedia and I'm clicking references. I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy's super amazing," right? And then it got to the foundation, and I was like, "Wow." All of this, and he got to here. I said, this is my question. How did he get to here? Right? And just hearing a story, I'm like, your father took you to the game, because we didn't get that the first time. We got that this time. And this is the reason why part 2 is so important. The father took you to the game, and you took your phone out with a picture of your father so your father could see. And I know he's like super proud, and your grandpops are super proud, and your lineage is super proud. And
culture.
It's giving me goosebumps thinking about it now. And you got to the end of the ride, the 4-hour ride. You said, I got to give back. So God put you in that place, whatever you believe in, put you in that place to see that journey, to see exactly what you meant and what everything means to that point, and you decided to give back. And it's a beautiful thing. I just want to say thank you for being exactly who you are and being at the right place at the right time always. And I just envy your email. I would like the recruiters to hit my email.
Yes, we need the black book. We need the black book, man. Salute to you,
much.
and I'll let you end it off, Peter, as you go on to your day. What food for thought would you like to leave the industry with, as far as, obviously you're a person that always talk about remember from whence we came, obviously you're forward thinking, and we all agree that gaming is the preeminent entertainment medium. So as we move forward into this next era, what food for thought would you like to leave our audience and just the culture in general?
Well, I think, we learn from whence we came, to your point, and it's something I talk about a lot, and particularly when you get to my age and you've had the experiences that I'm fortunate to have, you have an obligation to give back and talk about this. I'm doing my autobiography, so I'm going to capture a lot of this so that, 100 years from now, my great-grandchildren will be going, how did we get to Santa Barbara? And
who brought us over here?
Well, what happened? And so this is what, and I think everybody has a book in them. I've always thought that the story, and it's one of the little frustrations when I moved back to Liverpool. I've been gone for 50 plus years, and I try to piece together my history of moving back there. And because my mom and dad didn't talk about it a lot, they were more focused on taking care of us and running the pub. And so I think it's important that you do give back, and you have sessions like this, and you guys perform an unbelievable service to the gaming industry, to give me and people like me a platform to talk about this. A lot of people watching and listening right now probably weren't even born when we were launching the Dreamcast, and they need to understand how tough times were during that period and what we had to do. Congress hated us. Yes. If you remember, the British tabloids used to call it PlayStation Killer. And this was what we had to fight. Was that if you were playing particularly a shooter, like a Call of Duty, that the tabloids would say you have a greater propensity to commit violent crime.
Yes.
And we as an industry had to do research because that's ridiculous. And in fact, if you're a gamer during this period, your decision making, your concept of strategy, your reactions, your use of technology, how you do things will be superior than somebody who actually doesn't play games. So these were the battles we had to fight and win during this period, to A, get respect, and B, to build what is now, a $200 billion industry. we should all be proud of. So yeah, and I want to thank you for allowing me a couple of 2.25 hours now. And then one little personal shout out. I'm about to, I got my stepson Brody, who lives here. He's about to be a UCSB gaucho this afternoon. It's moving. And he is a dungeon master of the highest grade. So Dungeons and Dragons will be hitting the UCSB campus, I'm sure, starting tonight when he gets his ring in there. He is going to take his gaming pillow from Valeri with him.
Oh, salute, Valeri pillow.
Yeah, see if the keyboard works on that pillow. I think it does. And then we'll be good to go. So awesome. Shout out to Brody. Good luck being a UCSB gaucho, and go D&D.
Go D&D. I love it. Again, PeterMoore, thank you.
Yeah, this has been a blast.
This has been a blast. Thank you. So Enjoy your day. And again, thank you for all you do. And it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to interview you. Enjoy your day, good sir. Twice. We did it right.
2 times, Shaun.
Guys, you'll never walk alone. Never forget that.
I got it. I could die now. This is my greatest interview.
Yes, guys.
Our greatest interview.
All right.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye. No
Hey,
doubt.
Saab, you want to do the sponsor before we get to the super chats?
I mean, we could talk about it. We're powered up, or what we doing?
Well, no, I'm gonna do the other sponsor first, and then we can do the whole talk about the powered up, because that's different. That's a
that's different. That's the let's do the super chats because not that many.
Yeah, let's do the super chat.
And we'll do the sponsor, and then we'll get into our other into our other more deeper conversation.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Let's get super chats.
Yeah. So forgive me. It's rough going today.
That's good. We appreciate you.
We got Hollywood Rules, $5 super chat. Happy Sunday, my NYC West Virginia cousins. Thanks again for getting the great PeterMoore on. Sorry I've been MIA, but my football Sundays are precious. Get 'em, King.
We appreciate you still showing up.
Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate it. You know, you can't watch both at the same time.
Yeah, you got that screen open at the same time.
I love when Xbox One was able to
snap. That's what Snap was lit.
Snap? Boy.
Yeah, facts. And the NFL app on the other side, too?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They brought everything to 2 FPS, but that's fine.
On your television. You know, I use that frame rate boost in real life.
It's not supposed to look like that, Kate.
Get over your sickness. Be quiet.
we got. He's like, stop talking. Hollywood Rules, $2 super chat. Just thanking the great PeterMoore. Hashtag Sega. Hashtag Xbox. Yes, no PeterMoore is lovely, lovely human being for real. Then we got Sith Lord member for 14 months, Lord Bronze. Thank you, PeterMoore, for everything you've done for Xbox and Sega. I appreciate it very much, and I think you're a great role model for business. Yes, absolutely. Then we got Fresh Dude 519310, $2
Fresh Dude.
King, what's the name of those shades? I want them.
Oh, these are
Which one we rocking?
Wait, hold on. These are
What we doing?
These are my gazelles.
Oh, these are gazelles.
Gazellis. You just go right there to any prescription store to get the real Gazellis. Don't go to these little bootleg joints. you get something with fake gold on the side. Just go to your prescription store and go pick them up. You don't have to change the frames or whatever. They sell it to you straight up.
No doubt.
Don't go to Canal Street.
Oh, definitely.
Canal Street Gazellis? No doubt.
Then we have Dr. Strangelove.
Oh,
super chat. I'm hungry for some nice, juicy, thick LordCognito steaks with a nice load of truffle butter all over the meat.
Oh, man. Hit the music, please.
My bad. Hey.
Back to you, Saul.
I don't know which is better. Me saying it in my normal voice or having to say it in this lower
low sensual voice. Like, oh man. We appreciate your super chat.
Shout out to chest congestion. There we got Pragmatic Eagle member for 46 months, Lord Gold. I know y'all aren't quite there just yet, but I wanted to be one of the first to congratulate you 4 gentlemen on reaching 20K subs. Here's looking to the next 20K and beyond. Salute.
Salute. Very close.
I want to point out that we're like 15 subs away.
Oh, hit that sub, y'all. Come on.
15 of you
watching,
haven't subbed to this channel. I just want to point that out.
Let's do the 20K on PeterMoore, man.
And also remember, we have a console to give away. That's, if you're part of Patreon, that console's up for grabs.
Hit that subscribe, man. I'm telling you.
Subscribe. There's 833 of you in the chat right now. You know,
Come on.
y'all ain't
Not all of y'all subscribe, and y'all ain't the like, but y'all not lurking. Facts. Giving y'all good content out here.
So, Hector the Macho Man, $10 super chat. All hail the magnificent lords. I hope someone from Sony is listening to the great Peter, because not only is the PS5 starting fires, but the building as well. And Sony needs to get back to being great.
It's dead. They were successful. They didn't blow it up and do what they were supposed to. So now you're gonna watch them disappear.
You're taking my customer away. Yeah. And
Magic trick.
The big guys, the GameStop.
11 more.
Nice.
11 more. Let's go.
Got 4, y'all. Now we need 11.
Let's put the crest in the chat. For
10
new
more.
member to the realm. Welcome to Lord Bronze. Hindsight with hustle. No doubt.
Oh, that's the man. Salute.
Thank you, Hustle. Appreciate you, brother. Then we got Spartan661, $5 super chat. Thank you for the interviews you guys share with us. Everyone here knows all of you are great at what you do as content creators, and you entertain at ILP. Shout out. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Much love. Much love.
We got the homie Kid Smooth, $2 super chat. Bring back NBA Live, Peter. Call your buddies at EA.
Kid, I shot the shot for you, bro. I shot the shot for you on NBA Live. I shot the shot for you. EA Sports Base. Damn, kid. Let it go.
You know why?
Let it go.
You're not beating 2K.
Yeah, you're so far behind. It's kind of is the baseball conundrum, right? It's the baseball conundrum is like you so far behind. It's crazy. Like,
it's not even they so far behind. It don't matter what you do. You can have a superior basketball game to this day. 2K dudes are loyal to a point that is bananas. I got dudes that tell me I already took the week off and I'm going to spend like $1,000 in V-Bucks.
Five left
in the close.
Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it.
5 more people to 20K. Let's
go. Let's go.
Let's do it on this show.
Let's do it on this show, man. It's the one. This is the one.
Then we got MG.
I know some of you PlayStation people. I know you got some burner accounts, man. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
Then we have MG with the $50 super chat. This PeterMoore guy is all right. Yeah, yes he is.
It's kind of a big deal. Salute.
He's so dope that the dude that followed him almost burnt us to the ground. he was trying to do the Peter method. Let's blow it all up. Let's smash it to the ground. So we had to get him up out of there quick. Phil Dominus Maximus and William Spencer had to step in. Get this dude off the chair.
I can't with you. You're messy. You're super messy right now. Continue.
Then we got Truckle Chuckle with the £9 super chat. Just joined and playing catch up. Peter is a proper gent. My wife is from Liverpool, and so I have an affinity for Scousers. Love and well wishes to you and the Lord.
3 more.
3 more. Yeah, he was talking that Liverpool talk, that Scouser talk. He was talking it.
More people. Who gonna be the one though? Are you the one to subscribe?
Let's go.
And we got Zip Davis, $5.
Zip with the drip.
Stop that.
There we go.
Stop that.
The Forza Dev says they want the player to have a relationship with their car.
One more.
Yo, whoever is the last one, I want you to say who you are.
Yes.
Might be something special for you.
I'm gonna get mine a BTPL, a Brazilian tailpipe lift.
20,000 subs.
Oh, we did it. Put it together.
We have done it, people. And let the world rejoice and put your hands together.
Put the crest in the chat. Put the crest in the chat, y'all. 20K. Put the crest. Everybody right now, put the crest, because without you guys, we don't do this. We don't do this. Put the crest in the chat right now, y'all.
We had to shame y'all to get there, but that's
exactly.
Right.
We had to bully y'all a little bit. Put the crest in the chat. I want the chat flooded with the Iron Lord Podcast crest. There we go. Let's see the wolves up. Let's see the shields up. Let's go.
You subbed, but you wasn't subbed. And you was like, oh my God, how the hell I'm not subbed? On God and them, let me just give it. Subbing don't cost you a nickel.
Exactly.
Don't cost you a penny, don't cost you a quarter.
Crest
it's
in
like
the
a
chat.
like. It don't cost you anything. If I'm giving you this entertainment, just give me that thumbs up and get to that subs up.
Lords
baby.
and
Let's
ladies, thank you
so
so much. Thank you so much.
Everybody here, we did this together, and we're moving forward.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and like I said, you guys power us, and it's an honor to have some of the best community ever. You guys make it fun, and 20K, y'all, Addict 20K. What we doing out here, Addict?
20K and 7.
That's crazy. Y'all showed up.
Let's go.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
y'all. Continue.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Then we got Lady saying $50 super chat. Notice that a recruiter is always coming to Peter. This is my story. For those out there that are trying to up their levels, gotta keep your LinkedIn profile updated. If you don't have a LinkedIn account or you don't update it, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Salute.
Then we got Hindsight with Hustle member for 21 months, Lord Bronze. Do you remember a game called Wet on the 360?
Yes.
Is it in Game Pass? I asked because it's made by ZeniMax. Yeah, Wet wasn't good, but Wet was wet.
I like Wet.
It was trying to do some things. It was
I
trying to do
thought
some
Wet
things.
was good. Pause.
Time. Like getting wet, but anyway, we're gonna move on.
Here we
got Wet.
Then we got the homie Hargi Chani, $5 super chat. Would have been awesome to ask, but after ABK is acquired, not sure how long Bobby K will still be there. Could Peter be interested? Just saying. That'd be crazy if he comes back into the gaming fold.
Is Sobs, Cogs, emojis on the side extra large? Pause.
Yeah.
That timeout is just bugged out.
Yeah, that timeout taking up your whole face.
Yeah, like it punch you in the mouth. Time. And it's still rolling though. Let's kill that time.
Then we got Craig Hooligan gifting, in quotations, gifting an ILP membership. Thank you, Craig Hooligan. You out there in the streets doing the Lord's work, beating people up for memberships. I appreciate it. Then we got Lady Foxfire, $5 super chat. Amazing show as always. I've been a gamer since Sega Genesis days, but hardcore into gaming since the 360 generation. Thank you for all you guys do. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Then we got Hargeet Shani, once again, $2 super chat. Salute to the Lords for getting Peter Moore twice. Yes, that was all Peter. He was like, all right, this is the date. Can we do it?
Yep.
Yes.
About his business, man. About his business.
Then we got a couple. Put the crest in the chat for the next few chats that we have. They're all new members. We got Diogo Padrao. Welcome, Lord Go. Put the crest in the chat for Diogo Padrao. Then we got Awful Grim Bones. Welcome to Lord Bronze. Shout out. Put the crest in the chat. And we have Captain Chats, Lord Bronze. Welcome, sir. Appreciate that. Put the crest in the chat. And we have Nam Omar, member for 25 months, Lord Go. Congrats on 20K, Lords. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Then we got Jay Rembert, $2 super chat. Congrats on 20K. Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Platano J, member for 29 months, Lord Bronze. Congratulations, Lords. I'm so happy for the Lords. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Blessings. Cog, you got time running. Time.
He got it. He got the button pressed on it.
Yeah, it's spamming and hitting off in the face.
Black it there.
My bad. She fixed it.
Then we got Mr. Too Opinionated, $2 super chat. Bring NBA Street back. Be different, in my opinion. That'd be nice. That'd be awesome. I like Street. Then we got Danny Passion Official, $2 super chat. Congrats. Great interview. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Then we got Dr. Strange Love once again, $5 super chat. Do you guys think the industry will be facing a new video game crash because all the studio closure and budgeting can't keep going at this rate?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of one of those too big to fail things now. Like video games are not where they were back when ET sort of slumped the whole industry.
See, the problem was it was only a couple of major players, and everything was all over the place, right? You have ColecoVision, you had Amiga, the way the PC was set up, and you had Atari. Atari was the biggest player out of all of them, but Atari games wasn't the best out of all of them.
No.
Right? So you had shovelware being thrown out and guys turning games around in 2 weeks of major licensees. ET was a major license that they got, And that game being shipped out the door in the form that it was to just meet the movie's demand sunk the market. So many of those games was made, and the return on those games, the outcry, people was just fed up. We're not at that point. We don't have anything like that. When you got games like Starfield, you got future game like Spider-Man coming out, you got Forza, you have all these wonderful games that have launched. Final Fantasy 16, what is this? The Stars, Tears of the Stars. These games are taking it to a whole different level. Now, the sustainability of purchasing all these quality games in succession, that won't lead to a collapse. What that would do is lead to the rise of the subscription service. That's where we're going.
Yeah, that's exactly true. It's not the same at all. It won't happen again.
No.
Then we have Huffy Bear, Huffy Bear, $5 super chat. Shout out to the Lords for the great content to listen to while doing my cardio in the gym. Shout out.
You listening to me while you working out? You're trying to kill yourself. Could you imagine you up under your max press and I say something stupid? You're about to die.
Well, I mean, they said cardio. They're probably on a treadmill or something, jumping some rope. So.
Oh, you trying to fall. You trying to trip, bust your ankle because you start laughing and trip. Hit your face on the damn treadmill.
I do a lot of cardio every week, and I listen to podcasts while I do cardio.
You must be listening to them boring podcasts.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be...
So,
you know what? I'm gonna let that go.
Move that on.
There we got Wavy Kosher member for 5 months, Lord Bronze. Shout out to the Lords for part 2 with PeterMoore and hitting 20K. Also wanted to know when is Fight Night coming back. Finished MK1 and I'm feeling frisky. Pause.
You saw I shot that shot.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let that go.
He pretty much just said, "Look, Fight Night, great game. Just there's there's a bunch of variables. One is just he didn't see a growing audience because that's at the end of the day they try to sell to the same people buying it last one. They try to sell it to more people and they just didn't see a growing audience in the long run.
Addict, I'm gonna tell you what was more telling in that part, and if you guys missed it, he started off with the business is kind of grimy, and when you start to deal with the slime and the underbelly of the boxing world, you really don't want to deal with him. So he said he sat down with Dana White and the whatchamacallit brothers, and that is a different experience.
It is.
You understand? So dealing with all of that and then licensing each different character, no. And you guys are asking for X amount of dollars where you're not producing the viewership. The return on investment isn't there. We got to close that part. So remember what we made.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's the thing. Like UFC is a league now, right? It's controlled it's centralized. So the thing with that is now you have
Dana White owns everything.
Pretty much. So it is that
nothing,
thing. But yeah, I mean now they're part of this bigger thing. But the thing about it is you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. So you lose a little bit of something, right? Because UFC has evolved differently to what it was, but you don't have those worries with the shystiness.
Exactly.
and having to grease a lot of pockets. So
just
let me see.
One pocket pause.
Yeah. Then we got, let me see, Tony Bryant, member for third. No, then we have put the crest in the chat for Fantasticals. Welcome to
what has
Lord
our chat
Bronze.
evolved into?
Some of these, I was like, I'm not reading these before Peter's still here. I can't do this. Then we got Tony Bryant, member for 36 months, Lord Bronze. Been here for a while. Glad to see 20K live. As always, a great time to be a gamer. # stop the leaks. That's it. I'm not leaking anything else. I'm done. I'm good. Then we got C Money on point for gamers. $10 super chat. Congrats on the 20K Lords, the goats of the podcast game. So well deserved. You're an inspiration to us all. Glad I could watch the 20K hit live.
Yeah, salute. Much love.
Then we got Nintendo on the Otaku, member for 4 months, Lord Silver. Salute to the Lords for 20K, the best Xbox podcast. Could have been at 50K by now if COG would just accept our Lord and Savior Mario into his life.
Yeah. Well, so I do got something. We were going to talk this week about Payday 3, but Payday's been having like a lot of issues, like network wise. So I wanted to make sure that like we got a good experience when they get their whole networking issue stuff. So we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we're going to condense some things, guys. Lords, check the chat when you guys get a chance. It's kind of important. And then Solve, get the super chats and the remaining ones.
We're caught up, so let me check that chat real quick.
Yeah, check the ILP chat. So I know we want to do the things we want to talk about, or we gonna talk about what we powered by, or what we gonna do?
Let's pay the bills.
Okay.
And then we'll power up.
All right, cool. Let's pay the bills.
Okay, so still I have give me a moment. I have yet.
Don't worry. While you do that, I think 2 came in, and I'll take care of that for you. JD Gamer, $5 super chat. Congratulations on 20K. Now that the ABK deal's done, who's next? Call the next acquisition's out. And then Angry Hippie, $5 super chat. Did anyone else hear Howard Cosell's voice during Peter Ali's story? Yes.
Yes, sir.
That was the only thing I heard when he said that.
Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier. All right, we're caught up there. Okay, so gentlemen, let's pay these bills. Let's pay these bills. Everybody mute. Again, apologies for the voice. But support for the Iron Lords podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code IRONLORDS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 16 million balls. So, as summer comes to an end and fall is upon us, the change in the weather means we'll be putting away our shorts, our sandals, and t-shirts, and pulling out our jackets, sweaters, and heavy pants. And before long, winter will be knocking at our door, forcing us to wrap ourselves in heavy coats, scarves, and snow boots. Now, this nippy weather may have you thinking, hey, baby, it's cold outside, and my nethers can use all the warmth they can get. Maybe I can go without shaving down below for a while. Maybe the entire winter season. It'll be fine. No one will notice the smell. The wife will still be able to find the glizzy and tater tots. Well, I'm here to emphatically say no, 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 no. At no point in time is it okay to go uncoiffed down below, no matter what 1970s erotica may have to say about its self-grooming. And thank goodness that Manscaped is here to save you from yourself, because the Performance Package 4.0 has arrived. And oh man, it is a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming and, dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. I can concur. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has 4,000 LED spotlights, so you can get a more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but you want to take your grooming game even further to the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. Their Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with code IRONLORDS. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IRONLORDS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code IRONLORDS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you, Sal, for
Yeah,
adjusting the nether regions.
that is correct. Let's not assume that the winter time is okay. Don't do this. No. Wear some long johns,
Don't try to tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not nice. You know what I mean? There's other ways to get warm. So let's follow those rules, sir.
No doubt, no doubt. So look,
I mean, Cog, you still got the sponsor thing up.
oh, thank you. I'm a little off my game. Some stuff going on in the background. I apologize.
Oh my God, that hurt.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. No doubt. So, look, as you could see in the overlay, Lord's seemed a bit powered up, surging with that NZXT power. You know, we've been powered by NZXT. You know, we want to talk about briefly this amazing partnership. As you see that purple power surging, all that PC power in the banner, feeding the crest of the Lords, the wolf, everything with the glow up. So, again, put the crest in the chat. Again, you know, if you're looking for a new PC build, check out we pinned it at the top, you know, in the live chat. You can use that link when you order. And we got more cool things in the realm planned with NZXT and this partnership. So we want to salute. And again, thanks to you guys, all this stuff will be possible. But real briefly, Lords, you know, any want to comment on this partnership and these new things going on?
When I got my PC, I got the giant box, and I was like, whoa, dude. Then I opened it up, and I was like, man, it's purple lights. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie at all. I felt real cool at that point. I mean, I had a PC before, and I had a gaming PC, but this thing took it to the next level. So when we were getting in, we were going through the choosing. You know, I chose the AMD edition. And I thought that it was just, you know, the coolest looking one. The spec wise, it was fantastic. You know, Player 3 AMD edition. Top of the food chain. I was worried about Starfield, people. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to lie to you. Sovereign's background says it all. NZXT proved me right. My choice was right. Starfield. Y'all guys talking about 60 frames per second. You people don't know what speed is. This game looks incredible. 4K, above 60 frames per second. This machine is a monster. Yeah, I'm tweaking and twerking with you dudes. Sovereign loves the fact that that now I got to get Steam. You know what Sov did? I got to really break it down. Because I gotta out you in front of everybody. Attic and I was worrying about playing a particular game, and you know we hit up the Iron Bank like, yo, we want to do this, but Attic didn't even worry about hitting up the Iron Bank. He said, yo, when whatchamacallit, this game is on sale. I don't want to say which game it is, but you know this game is on sale. Let's get it. And he's just regularly talking. So along comes the devil. He pops up. Hey man. I can get that to you right now, man. And I'm like, yeah, but we want to play it on this. No. You got these powerful rigs, and you're going to play it here. He did that with a couple of games. You know, being that, you know, he's in that world, you know, the tweaking and the twerking world. So I'm not gonna lie, you know, Solve is right all the time when it comes to this tweaking and twerking stuff. Him and I used to do it back in the days, but NZXT has allowed us to do it on a greater scale, and I gotta bend the knee to my man. He's definitely right. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Yeah, you're right. I was doing some stuff on that on the rig, and it's ridiculous, bro.
No doubt. Lords, unfortunately, I have an emergency, so I have to cut, but I want to keep Attic, if you can take control. I apologize for something real serious is going on, and I have to leave, but the show will continue. Attic, you got everything on the control side? I'll leave that.
I can just cut the podcast through the YouTube studio.
Let me know. Again, apologies, a little emergency going on. That's why things were beeping earlier, and I'm being instructed I got to get out. So I'll be back. And again, Realm, thank you so much. 20K the whole bit. And if we do have to make it up to you, we'll make it up to you. But Lord, you guys hold it down for me. I'll have access to my phone. I have to be safe. Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely, bro.